Naruto. Start with 3 Magatama and cultivate Kushina.
Chapter 21. Being targeted by the giant snake, the Hyuga clan is the one that knows the most about P. Uchiha. You are also from the Uchiha clan. Orochimaru was full of surprise. This head of mixed hair that was neither black nor purple didn't look like it. Yes. Lu Yun smiled and nodded. Why are you fighting? Orochimaru asked with interest. We were just forced to fight back because of some trivial things that are not worth mentioning. Lu Yun didn't want to explain too much, because these things were indeed not worth mentioning to Orochimaru. His answer was a little beyond Orochimaru's expectations. Haha. Such a trivial matter, such a forced counterattack. Uchiha Lu Yun, huh. You are very good. I'll remember you. Orochimaru smiled hoarsely, narrowed his eyes and looked up and down at Lu Yun, finally patted him lightly on the shoulder and moved away first. It was not until he saw Orochimaru's back completely disappear that Lu Yun came back to his senses. Before he knew it, the clothes on his back were soaked with cold sweat. Being targeted by Orochimaru is not a good thing. Although the snake is not poisonous for the time being, it is still a cold-blooded animal. Looking at the gloomy sky, Lu Yun sighed and ran all the way back home. He hasn't returned home yet at this hour, and Asuka is probably going to worry about him again. When he ran to a corner panting, he saw Asuka waiting for him at the door again. After being scolded by his mother, Lu Yun finally sat down at the dinner table. Run, run, run. You just run around and play like crazy every day. Are you too tired to eat? Seeing that Lu Yun seemed to have lost his appetite, Asuka couldn't help but scold him again. Go take a shower first, then sit by the door and relax before coming to eat. Oh. Lu Yun fled from the dining table in a panic. The cool water took away most of his fatigue. Looking at his slightly red and swollen limbs, Lu Yun couldn't help but sigh softly. My physical fitness is still too poor. His own foundation was not good, and even though he could control chakra to strengthen his body, he still couldn't avoid getting injured, and the pain was unavoidable. Fighting 7 Uchiha alone is actually not easy. The original body was a lazy guy who didn't like sports very much. Even if he hurriedly trained for a few days, it would be impossible for him to improve his physical fitness to a very strong level. It takes a long time to train the physical body before it can achieve any results. It cannot be achieved in a hurry. After dinner, Lu Yun did not exercise as usual because he was sore all over after the fight and was no longer suitable for excessive exercise. Sitting at the desk, he started doing his homework seriously. After finishing his homework, he listed out most of the plots and events in the original Naruto that he remembered in Chinese characters. Since Orochimaru has not yet left the village for the Land of Rain, it means that the Second Ninja World War has not officially begun. At this moment, Hanzo of the Salamander has not officially declared war on the Fire Nation, but according to Lu Yun's speculation, it will probably be within this year and a half. The original novel only vaguely explained the timeline of World War II. Lu Yun had only watched the anime but did not study anything outside of the anime, which also made it impossible to accurately judge the plot. Of course, he is in awe of the Ninja World War, and it would be best if he could not participate in it. No matter how ruthlessly others kill, it is none of his business, as long as Konoha does not go so crazy as to send ninja elementary school students to join the battle. He just wanted to live a peaceful and stable life. Right now, he was living a happy and fulfilling life, and he had nothing to be dissatisfied with. The next morning, Lu Yun started his morning exercise plan again for the new day. Today is the weekend and there are no classes. Lu Yun thought he could add some training tasks appropriately. This morning, I ran until dawn before I might die. Lu Yun took the opportunity to ask him about his experience and methods of body training. Haha, brother Lu Yun, in fact, physical training is just that simple. Just train the parts that are weak. The main point is to make the blood flow smoothly throughout the body. My experience in practicing is, just practice until your whole body aches every day. If you practice less, you won't be able to continue strengthening your body, and if you practice more, you'll tire yourself out, which is not good either. Might Dai and Lu Yun discussed their cultivation experiences while doing push-ups. At this time, they were practicing in Konoha's public training ground. Although it was an open-air place, there were many basic facilities for fitness and training. Brother Dai, you should be very knowledgeable about physical skills, right? Can you teach me when you have time? Lu Yun couldn't hold back his temper and asked Might Dai for advice on physical skills. Taijutsu. I'm not afraid of you laughing at me, but I only have a limited understanding of taijutsu. Might Dai said something that greatly surprised Lu Yun. Are you kidding me? If Kai Dad only has a superficial understanding of taijutsu, then who in the ninja world dares to say that they know taijutsu? Brother Dai, please stop joking. I'm not kidding. Before Lu Yun finished speaking, he heard Mad Dai's serious explanation. The only ninjas in the ninja world who truly understand taijutsu are the Hyuga clan. Most of us who follow the Gangquan route have only touched the level of taijutsu. Most people who practice Goku Kojutsu actually only focus on speed and strength, and lack other aspects such as skills, insight, and reaction ability. Only the Hyuga clan can be considered all-rounders in taijutsu. They have both speed and strength. Their Byakugan corresponds to insight, and their various soft fist techniques correspond to skills. In addition, their clan itself has excellent body flexibility, and their reaction speed is even better. Might Dai highly praised the Hyuga clan, and he always believed that this family was the master of physical arts. After hearing what he said, Lu Yun understood why he said, only the Hyuga clan truly understands taijutsu. Of course, understanding is one thing, and being strong is another. As a time traveler who has watched Naruto, Lu Yun knows that knowing a lot of physical skills is not enough to become strong. The key is to be proficient in them. There are many people in the ninja world who have made achievements in physical skills. Among them, in addition to Might Dai and his son, the more famous ones are power-type physical skills masters like Tsunade, as well as the third and fourth Raikage, who are powerful speed-type masters who combine ninjutsu with physical skills. They all took the path of specialization and achieved impressive results. In terms of real combat power, they are definitely stronger than the Hyuga clan who can do everything. Might Dai and his son are both fast and strong, and the forbidden technique of 8 gates ninjutsu has greatly improved these two attributes, which is also the key factor in their eventual fame. Brother Lu Yun, I think the speed training route is more suitable for you. Speed can generate power, and since you are a member of the Uchiha clan, you must have good insight. Mad Dai gave his advice. Being a speed-type ninja. Can I do it? Lu Yun murmured. Okay, as long as you want it, it will work. Mad Dai spoke firmly. Lu Yun was the most hard-working elementary school student he had ever seen. What couldn't a person like him do? Might Dai believes that hard work is better than talent, and this is how he will teach his son Might Dai in the future. Chapter 22. Eating the sickly Japanese cold dishes and being a filial son. Lu Yun spent the entire morning in the open-air training ground practicing hard. Old Dai had to complete a mission to earn money, so he said goodbye to Lu Yun and went to the Hokage building. After Lu Yun gritted his teeth and completed 1,000 frog jumps, he could no longer hold on and fell to the ground. Originally, his physical condition was not enough to complete this training goal uninterruptedly, but with the chakra blessing on his feet, completing 1,000 frog jumps became possible. Frog jumps are mainly for training the explosive power of the legs, allowing blood and chakra to stay in the legs for a long time, thereby nourishing the activity of the leg muscles. The power of the legs can be released at any time when needed. This is a necessary training item for the body flickering technique. Lu Yun has already mastered the ability to control chakra and can easily guide the chakra to stay in the legs, so he began to get in touch with the training programs taught by Lao Dai in advance. Might Dai didn't know this because he didn't believe that a primary school student could master the ability to control chakra, and he didn't think that Lu Yun had much chakra to consume for training. After lying on the ground for more than 10 minutes, Lu Yun forced himself to walk back home tiredly. As noon approached, Lu Yun fell into silence as he looked at the Japanese food in his lunch box. Rice balls, sashimi, meatballs, and vegetables. This is the nutritious lunch prepared by his mother Asuka. The lunch boxes at school are usually similar. Because of her work, Asuka usually doesn't go home for lunch, so Luyun eats his lunch by himself, and it's all cold food that Asuka prepares for him in the morning. He almost vomited after eating the Japanese set meal in front of him. His original memory had a deep resentment towards it. Luyun covered the lunch box, then took his pocket money and walked out of the house. He planned to buy some vegetables and make some hot meals to improve his diet. Since his family was not well off and he had little pocket money, he didn't dare buy expensive ingredients. He bought a few eggs, a cheap big taro, and gritted his teeth to buy some crab rolls. After working for a while at home, he successfully made 2 chaojo dishes that looked delicious. One is steamed egg with crab sticks, and the other is frosted taro. It takes skill to make these 2 dishes, and most people may not be able to make them without knowing the little tricks. Luyun ate the rice ball with gusto. In a short while, he had finished half of it, and his little belly was bulging. He put the other half of the dish that he had portioned out earlier into a lunch box, and then walked out of the house, intending to give it to his mother Asuka to taste. Although doing so is inconsistent with the original personality, and will inevitably arouse Asuka's suspicion, Luyun is not worried about it, because he is with Asuka day and night, and he cannot completely hide himself without being discovered. Besides, home is a place to relax, and he doesn't want to pretend and put on a mask at home. It's too tiring to live like this. So he simply stopped pretending. Even if he didn't behave like his son Uchiha Ryayun, as long as he recognized Asuka in his heart and could call her Mom, he would still be Uchiha Ryayun. Asuka has to work to earn money to support the family, and also has to take care of Luyun's 3 meals a day. Life is not easy. Luyun wants to help her lighten the burden, at least so that she doesn't become a burden in life like her original self. Asuka hasn't had lunch yet, and her lunch was also made in the morning, a cold meal set exactly the same as Luyun's. Asuka, come out quickly, your son is here to bring you food, a woman suddenly shouted. Asuka, who was about to eat, was startled. Her son brought her food. Didn't she have food? What kind of food could her son bring her? She got up quickly and ran to the factory door. Mom, you probably haven't eaten yet, right? I just made 2 dishes and wanted to give them to you to try. Luyun said and handed over the lunch box. You did all this? Looking at the dishes in the lunch box, Asuka was in disbelief. Well, it's made according to a recipe. You try it. Luyun nodded and smiled. Asuka, your child should still be in school, right? He can actually cook. A woman heard the conversation between the mother and son and was instantly shocked. Oh my God, this little guy is so sensible, isn't he? Another woman in the factory exclaimed in admiration. The noise they made here instantly attracted many female workers to come and watch. Such a sensible and filial child, Asuka, how did you raise him? The women were talking in amazement, and everyone was praising the mother and son. Asuka ignored all the comments from everyone present. It was midsummer and the sun outside the factory was scorching. Looking at her son who was sweating all over, Asuka felt her throat choked and stiffened. She covered her mouth tightly and tears instantly filled her eyes. Did Asuka suspect that someone else had replaced her child? Of course she did. Because Luyun behaved too sensible and too unusual, it was hard for her not to be suspicious. But looking at this good child in front of me, this sincere and pure love is real and cannot be faked. Especially the sincere and expectant look in Luyun's eyes, which is clearly the look a son would have when he wants to be praised and recognized by his mother. From this look, Asuka can be 100% sure that this is her son, Uchiha Ryayun. Only a woman who has been a mother can understand this kind of look. From this moment on, Asuka will only think that her son has suddenly grown up and become sensible, and will no longer doubt whether this man is her son. Asuka wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes, reached out to take the lunch box, and then hugged Luyun tightly. Thank you, son. There was an obvious cry in her voice. Luyun stood there in a daze for a long time, and finally gently broke free from Asuka's arms. Mom, go eat first. I'll go home first. The weather was so damn hot that it was a bit uncomfortable to be hugged so tightly. Also, being surrounded by a group of female workers made me feel stuffy. It is good. Asuka nodded subconsciously. And many more. Luyun had only taken a few steps when Asuka called him. Asuka quickly took out a banknote from her pocket and put it into Luyun's hand. Son, the weather is too hot. Go buy yourself some ice cream and drinks to cool down. Looking at the banknotes in his hand, Luyun was stunned for a moment, but soon he came to his senses and smiled. Thank you, Mom. Mom, I'm leaving. Go eat. Yeah, it's very hot outside. Stay home and don't run around. Asuka waved at him and warned. Asuka stared at his thin back for a long time, unable to come back to her senses, until someone snatched the lunchbox from her hand with a smile, and she quickly reacted. In Chapter 23, Asuka protecting her food, a throbbing girl in #039's heart. Let me see what Asuka's precious son prepared for her. The female worker leader opened the lunchbox, and a pleasant smell of eggs wafted out instantly. What a nice smell. The steamed egg is so tender, and there are crab sticks in it. Why haven't I seen this dish before? Does it have a name? Is there anyone among you who can make it? The foreman asked while praising. She didn't try to taste the dish. After all, it was a dish made by someone's son for his mother, and she could only look at it but not eat it. This novel dish smelled delicious and looked appetizing, so she asked out of curiosity. I don't know. Just ask Asuka. The female workers spoke up one after another. I don't know. Maybe Luyun learned this new dish from somewhere. Faced with everyone's questions, Asuka blushed and shook her head. Look at this dish, it looks like a snack. The taro is fried and evenly coated with a thin layer of sugar. How did he do it? The female worker picked up a piece of taro. Asuka, give me a piece to try. The female foreman couldn't resist her curiosity and took the initiative to ask for it. Okay, you all come and try it. Asuka took the initiative to share this portion of frosted taro. I want it, give me some to try. There were only 10 pieces of taro, but there were many female workers fighting for it, so each person could only get half. There is a sweet taste as soon as the taro pieces enter the mouth. It is crispy on the outside and soft on the inside. The fried taro bursts with an extremely rich aroma in the mouth. The several experiences on the tip of the tongue mixed together make people can't help but applaud. It's crispy on the outside and glutinous on the inside, sweet and delicious, and the taste is amazing. It was the first time for the group of female workers to eat this unique delicacy, and they all showed surprise on their faces. This dried taro may not look very attractive, but it tastes surprisingly delicious. Is it really my son who did this? Asuka widened her eyes in disbelief. How can an ordinary piece of wild taro be made so sweet and delicious? Asuka had no idea how her son did it, and she decided to ask her son about it after get off work. Asuka regretted giving away all the sugar-coated taro as she sipped the remaining sweet taste in her mouth. If she had known that this little thing was so delicious, she shouldn't have been so generous as to share it with others. Thinking of this, she hurriedly covered the lunch box because there was another dish inside. Hey. Asuka, let me have a bite of the steamed egg, just a small bite will do. The female foreman spoke urgently, and a group of female workers also spoke at this time. They all wanted to taste different flavors of food. Next time, I haven't eaten yet. If I give it to you, I'll be hungry. Asuka held the lunch box tightly in her arms. Don't you have a lunch box? That's right, don't worry about being hungry, I'll trade you some sushi. If that doesn't work, I have some prawns in my lunch box, we can give them to you. We are just curious and want to try them. A group of female workers were talking at the same time, and they all wanted Asuka to share the new dishes with them. They were willing to offer their own lunch boxes and food. Some of them even took out knives, forks and chopsticks. No, this is made by my son for me, I don't want to change it. Asuka refused directly. Just a small bite, don't be so stingy, we don't want to eat much. No, if you want to eat, let your son cook it himself. Asuka couldn't stand their pestering and couldn't open her food box for a long time. She got so anxious that she went crazy. What if I don't have a son? If you don't have a son, go give birth to one, and stop disturbing me while I'm eating. Asuka, how could you do this? It's so selfish. Looking at a group of envious and jealous female colleagues and listening to their praise and comments about Luyun, Asuka felt extremely proud. Her own son has made her, his mother, proud today. Asuka felt that the dish was surprisingly fresh, tender and smooth. She finished the steamed egg with crab sticks in just a few bites. After saying goodbye to Asuka, Luyun did not go home immediately. Instead, he ran to the wilderness not far from his home and followed a small river to a remote woodland. This is what is called treading water. This place is rarely visited, and there are water and trees, which is very suitable for him to practice low-key. Luyun controlled the chakra in the soles of his feet and then stepped gently into the stream. Shadow clone technique. There was a splash sound as he fell into the water, and he sank directly into the water. Luyun created 2 shadow clones and then began a new stage of chakra control training. The 2 shadow clones ignored the original body. They picked up the kunai and shuriken on the ground and walked aside to practice the Uchiha clan's unique hidden weapon throwing technique. The entity that lost control and fell into the water did not feel depressed, but instead felt happy because of the cool river water. After diving in the water for a while, he slowly climbed out of the river. Go ashore, fall into the water, learn from experience, and keep trying. Luyun is constantly improving and gradually understands the key to treading water. The powerful mental force gives it extremely strong spiritual thoughts, which makes its comprehension ability beyond ordinary people, and its growth rate is terrifying. Ashore. The kunai and shuriken seem to be colliding with each other in a chaotic manner, but in the end they surprisingly hit the target. The shadow clones can help Luyun gain experience in cultivation. The accuracy of the hidden weapons in their hands is improving rapidly, and they are becoming more and more handy. The water in the river is very cool, and the breeze under the shade of the trees is also very comfortable. On this hot afternoon, Luyun was immersed in the joy of practice and couldn't extricate himself. Within the Thousand Hands clan, Kushina followed Uzumaki Mito and sat in the pavilion, learning those obscure Uzumaki sealing techniques. She studied hard for the whole morning today, but became a little absent-minded in the afternoon. Girl, that's enough for today, go and have fun. Uzumaki Mito smiled kindly. She did not force Kushina to continue learning, because learning the mysterious sealing technique requires talent and a good state. Kushina is not in good condition right now and can't remember many things. Ah. No, Grandma Mito, I can still continue. Kushina smiled awkwardly and said, she couldn't be lazy or else how could she be a little teacher, and teach someone the sealing technique in the future. Go and play, Grandma is a little tired. Uzumaki Mito touched her beautiful red hair. Okay then. After hearing what Uzumaki Mito said, Kushina left the pavilion with peace of mind and ran out of the Senju clan's territory. Luyun, what is that guy doing now? The lusty girl wanted to go find the man, but she didn't dare to do so because of her face. She stood at an intersection, hesitating, walking back and forth with her head down, unable to make up her mind. By the way, I wanted to fight him yesterday but failed. With a reason to look for someone, Kushina's face instantly lit up with joy and she strode towards the direction of the Ryun family. Chapter 24 The Girl Under the Tree, the feeling of being pampered. Around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Is Luyun at home? When Kushina arrived at Luyun's house, she found that the door was locked. She shouted twice at the door but no one came out to respond. Where does this guy go when he doesn't have to go to school? Kushina muttered, looking a little lost. She stood at the door, hesitating, wanting to leave, but not wanting to leave, thinking that the other party might be back soon. The sun was extremely hot at this time, the ground temperature was very high, and the air was filled with suffocating heat. Kushina shielded her eyes with her hands, and unable to bear the heat, she ran to a nearby small tree to avoid the sun. It was almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon. After spending most of the afternoon, Luyun finally mastered the skill of treading water. He swam upstream against the current, and a happy smile unconsciously appeared on his face. Every improvement in his strength makes him happy. Bang! Bang! The two shadow clones disappeared at the same time, and a large amount of cultivation experience also poured into Luyun's mind. PFF'd. This was a great mental shock. Luyun's rhythm of treading water was disrupted without him noticing, and he fell into the water again. It seems that I still need to practice more, and strive to reach the level of not getting wet at all as soon as possible. After climbing ashore, Luyun set a new goal for himself. If the water walking skill is practiced to the extreme, even A-level ninjutsu like the Great Waterfall technique will be immune. Just like when Pain beat the runaway Naruto, the gushing groundwater was comparable to water-style ninjutsu, but Tendo Pain could walk on the waves as if he were walking on flat ground. This requires extremely advanced chakra control ability, and Luyun is still far from it now. After taking off his clothes and wringing out the water, Luyun walked slowly towards home. When he arrived near his home, a familiar figure under a small tree surprised him for a moment. Luyun quickly ran to the other party, and his arrival also attracted Kushina's attention. "Are you here to see me? How long have you been waiting?" I just got here," Kushina said softly with a blushing face. Luyun didn't hear clearly what she said. He took her little hand and rushed home. It was such a hot day and the little girl didn't know how long she had been standing under the tree. Her face was flushed red and her clothes were soaked with sweat. Luyun was a little worried that she would get sick from heatstroke. After opening the door, Luyun hurriedly led her to the shaded area at the back of the house. The air here was well ventilated and it was much cooler than indoors. In the past, Luyun would occasionally hide here to read comics and take naps. "Please sit down first." After pushing Kushina to sit on the bench, Luyun hurried back home and got out an iced drink. "Here, drink something to cool off." As Luyun spoke, he took out a fan and fanned her vigorously. Seeing someone being so attentive, Kushina's eyes narrowed with a smile. She took the iced orange juice and took a few big gulps. The cool, sour and sweet taste made her feel comfortable all over. She felt extremely happy both physically and mentally. It was worth it that she waited so long. After taking a sip of the cold drink, all the heat and resentment disappeared. "You said you were going to come see me today, but you didn't tell me yesterday. It's so hot, what are you standing outside waiting for? If it doesn't work, you can also jump over the wall to get in and hide from the sun. You are so stupid." The flowing clouds were fanning the wind and starting the fire at the same time. "Who are you calling stupid? Do you believe I will beat you up?" Kushina clenched her fists and threatened with a cold face. Seeing that Luyun didn't dare to say anything, she put down her fist and glared at him. "You said I was new here. And how can I just jump over the wall and enter someone's house the first time I go there? Am I a thief?" Luyun thought what he said made sense and couldn't help but scratch his head and laugh awkwardly. Kushina couldn't help but curse him, but the corners of her mouth rose slightly. The two of them lowered their heads in silence for a while. Seeing that he was soaked like a drowned rat, Kushina couldn't help but ask. "Did you fall into the water? Why are you all wet?" "Well, I accidentally slipped and fell into the water," Luyun explained with a smile. "Ha ha ha ha. I told you you're a big idiot. You can even accidentally fall into the water while walking, and you dare to say that others are stupid." Kushina couldn't stop laughing. After she had laughed enough, Luyun finally spoke. "Wait for me, I'm going to take a shower and change into dry clothes." "Yeah, go ahead." Kushina's pretty face blushed and she waved her hands repeatedly. Soon, Luyun washed off the muddy smell on his body with soap, and then dried his long hair with a towel. After finishing all this, he sat directly next to Kushina. The two of them sitting close to each other on the same bench showed their intimacy. Smelling the scent of soap on Luyun's body, Kushina felt relaxed and happy. This scent was indescribably good. She subconsciously lowered her head and her whole face turned red. Noticing her abnormal condition, Luyun couldn't help but show some worry on his face. Why is your face red again? Could it be that you really have a heat stroke? As Luyun spoke, he reached out and touched her head. It's very hot. Feeling a cool hand on her forehead, Kushina quickly turned her head to the other side. I don't have a heat stroke. Please don't move me. Kushina's voice became quieter and quieter, but there was no response from Luyun. Kushina turned her head and saw that the other person had disappeared and had already stood up and entered the house. Kushina was stunned for a moment, and then her face was full of disappointment. And as time went on, this feeling of loss became stronger and stronger, and she wanted to just get up and leave. Damn Luyun, didn't you even tell me before entering the house? Kushina muttered, her cheeks puffed up with anger. Here, wash your face and cool down. Luyun suddenly appeared and handed a white wet towel to her. He went into the room to find a towel and filled a basin with cold water to wash Kushina's face. Don't worry, the towel is new and no one has used it before. Looking at Kushina, who was in a daze, Luyun couldn't help but find it funny. What are you standing there for? Do you need me to wipe it for you? No. No need. I'll wipe it myself. After realizing what was happening, Kushina hurriedly waved her hands, then took a cool towel and wiped her face roughly a few times. Luyun took the towel, rubbed it a few times with cold water with ice cubes, and then handed it back to her. Wipe it clean, and then apply it again to cool it down. With the cold towel against her hot face, Kushina felt refreshed and extremely comfortable. Looking at this caring boy who looked so serious and repeatedly scrubbed her towel, Kushina's heart trembled, and a sense of happiness of being loved arose spontaneously. Is this what it feels like to be valued? He is really so gentle. Chapter 25. Uninvited guest comes to apologize, hatred diversion method. Luyun and Kushina sat on the bench, talking and laughing for a while, until two uninvited guests arrived and the pleasant atmosphere disappeared. Looking at the person coming, Luyun frowned subconsciously. Uchiha Kazuhiko was now followed by his mother, Uchiha Ayane, and the two of them were standing in front of his house holding a basket of fruits. Uzumaki Kushina, you are here too. Uchiha Kazuhiko couldn't help but scream when he saw Kushina beside Luyun. What? Uchiha Ayane was a little surprised. They had originally thought to find this stinky girl after finding that little beast Luyun, but they didn't expect that the two of them could be so sticky together during the holiday. Excuse me, both of you. I brought our Kazuhiko here today to apologize to you too. It was our Kazuhiko who was wrong about what happened at the ninja school. I hope you can forgive his mistakes. Uchiha Ayane suppressed her discomfort and took the initiative to explain her purpose. After she finished speaking, she bowed, looking quite humble. Bah, you two bastards. Uchiha Kazuhiko cursed in his heart, but a stiff smile appeared on his face. Luyun and Kushina looked at each other after hearing this, surprise written all over their faces. Regarding the matter of Uchiha Kazuhiko, the homeroom teacher Oda has already talked to both of them. He said that he would make Uchiha Kazuhiko apologize sincerely and suggested that the two of them could let each other off. After all, ruining someone's future is like killing their parents. It is better to leave a way out for them so that they can meet again in the future. Oda advocates harmony. This is a small gift. I hope Mr. Luyun and Miss Kushina will accept it. Uchiha Ayane took the initiative to offer the fruit basket in her hand. When you are under someone's roof, you have to bow your head. If Uchiha Kazuhiko wants to graduate from the ninja school successfully and become a ninja, he must obtain the forgiveness of these two people. Otherwise, the teachers at the ninja school would not agree to let Uchiha Kazuhiko return to school to continue his studies. Luyun did not take the fruit basket immediately, but looked at Uchiha Kazuhiko quietly with a calm look. The four of them looked at each other in silence, and the atmosphere became a little solemn for a moment. Uchiha Ayane's hands were sore from raising them, but the two people opposite her didn't say a word. In desperation, Uchiha Ayane secretly gave Uchiha Kazuhiko a look. I'm sorry, Brother Luyun. Mr. Kushina, I was wrong. Uchiha Kazuhiko admitted his mistake loudly with a flushed face. What's wrong? Lu Yun raised his eyebrows and asked casually. I shouldn't have bullied Lu Yun-kun, and I shouldn't have used a kunai at Miss Kushina. I just wanted to shoot her in the shoulder, and I definitely didn't intend to kill Miss Kushina. Uchiha Kazuhiko said and bowed to the two of them. Please forgive me this time. Lu Yun looked at him expressionlessly until he felt uneasy, then he turned to look at Kushina beside him. Miss Kushina, what do you say? Lu Yun asked seriously with a stern face. Seeing his hypocritical look, Kushina almost laughed out loud, but luckily she held it back at the critical moment. Okay, since you have a good attitude, I will forgive you this time. Don't always think about bullying others in the future. Kushina generously chose to forgive. Thank you, Miss Kushina. Uchiha Kazuhiko lowered his head, and his expression could not be seen. Lu Yun-kun, what about you? Uchiha Ayane looked at Lu Yun with a smile. But the next moment, Lu Yun ignored her and stared at Uchiha Kazuhiko with a gloomy face. You were the one who called the tribesmen yesterday, right? Uchiha Kazuhiko raised his head, looking confused. Lu Yun was a little surprised. It seemed that Uchiha Kazuhiko didn't seem to know what happened yesterday afternoon. It should be the Uchiha group's own idea to surround Lu Yun and the other person. Are you pretending to be confused, or are you really confused? Yesterday, 8 Uchiha came to beat me up. Didn't you call them over? Lu Yun sneered. Ah. I'm not, I didn't. Uchiha Kazuhiko waved his hands repeatedly. He has been locked up at home these past 2 days recovering from his leg injury. His parents won't let him go out at all, so how can he have the chance to interact with other friends? Lu Yun looked at him coldly, and that gloomy look scared Uchiha Kazuhiko enough. Oh, yeah. If you hadn't told me, I would have forgotten what happened yesterday. Those bastards must have been sent by this guy. Kushina stared at Uchiha Kazuhiko angrily. She had forgotten about this matter, but she couldn't let this bad guy who did bad things one after another go easily. I didn't. I don't know what happened. Uchiha Kazuhiko was so anxious that he was about to cry. At this time, Uchiha Ayane also hurriedly stood up to explain that her son was in solitary confinement and had not gone out for the past 2 days. Really? I don't believe it. Without your instructions, how could they unite to bully me? And Uchiha Yan said that he came for you. Just tell me how to solve this matter. Lu Yun crossed his arms and spoke softly. I really didn't. Yan and the others. Uchiha Kazuhiko wanted to cry but had no tears, he didn't know what to say. He felt that his life might be over, and he might not be able to be a ninja anymore. Our Kazuhiko has absolutely no involvement in this matter. We will investigate it after we return. Mr. Lu Yun, Ms. Kushina, please give us some time. Uchiha Ayane was only slightly panicked for a few breaths before she reacted. She bowed again and made a promise. Since Auntie has said so, I will give her some face. Lu Yun knew when to stop and did not continue to put pressure on the other party. Don't Uchiha Yan and the others want to take charge of this guy? Then Lu Yun will see whether Uchiha Kazuhiko will accept this favor and what he will do in the end. They are united in regarding Lu Yun as an outsider, so Lu Yun will simply play the role of an outsider and see if he can dismantle them, or even better, make them a pile of loose sand. Don't give them the opportunity to speak out in unison. Take the fruit basket back and eat it yourself. I think you all know the ninja code. We will not accept these fruits, and we cannot eat them. Lu Yun refused the other party's gift. Can he accept and eat the fruit basket given by the ninja at will? If I put 2 detonating talismans underneath, and put some colorless and odorless poison in the fruit, and it breaks out after 10 days or half a month, I want to ask you if you are afraid. Uchiha Ayane looked embarrassed when she heard this, and finally the mother and son said hello and turned away. Humph, a two-faced bad guy. The group of people yesterday must have been called by this guy. Looking at Uchiha Kazuhiko's back from afar, Kushina couldn't help but snorted coldly. It shouldn't be. Lu Yun said with a smile, no negative emotions on his face. Really? Then should we forgive him? Kushina asked in surprise. We must forgive him. After all, Uchiha Kazuhiko's father is an elite jonin. When our strength is not enough to protect ourselves, we still have to have a sense of awe. Even a rabbit will bite when it gets angry, let alone an elite jonin. But it's far from that time now, so Luyun wanted to put some pressure and intensity on Uchiha Kazuhiko. According to Uchiha Kazuhiko's bad temper, if he knew what happened yesterday, he would only blame Uchiha Yan and the others for meddling in his affairs and causing him to be unforgivable. Luyun alienated those people simply to divert hatred. Even if the hatred was not transferred, at least he and Kushina would no longer be targeted by the Uchiha clan. Chapter 26 The Shining Point That Attracted Kushina, Meeting the Parents. Hearing Luyun's meaningful words, Kushina looked at him thoughtfully. Her first reaction was not how reasonable this sentence was, but that she felt Luyun spoke like some adults, and such words were not something that children of their age could say. He seemed to have countless secrets. Although Kushina couldn't see through him, through previous events, current words, and some small details she discovered. She increasingly felt that this boy was different and very reliable, which was why she unconsciously wanted to get close to Luyun. She started with her beauty, fell in love with her talent, and was mysterious, making people want to find out more about her. Her superior strength gave her enough sense of security, and she was able to keep a low profile even when she was fighting 7 people at the same time. She is gentle, considerate, and good-tempered. She is humorous and witty and can care for others. Most importantly, the other person can compliment her on her beautiful hair and cute looks without being influenced by the mundane world. Any single, shining point, is enough to attract Kushina, and now that they are all put together, how can she not fall? Son, you are standing here, waiting for me. Asuka had already gotten home from get off work at this moment, and she was very happy to see her son at the door as soon as she could. Mom. Luyun greeted her with a smile. Ah. It's Luyun's mother. Seeing Luyun coming up to call her mother and watching Asuka striding towards her, Kushina's heart beat faster and she felt nervous subconsciously. Hey, whose girl is this? Asuka looked at Kushina with a smile. Mom, this is my classmate Uzumaki Kushina. She is my desk mate and good friend. She came to play with me today because she has a day off. Luyun introduced himself with a blushing face. Ah. Hello, Auntie. Kushina bowed, her face obviously much redder than Luyun's. So it's my deskmate's girlfriend. Hello, Kushina. Asuka bowed slightly and stretched out her hand. After these words came out, the 2 boys' faces turned even redder, especially Kushina, who looked like a big tomato. Kushina subconsciously stretched out her little hand and held Asuka's. She felt so shy that she didn't even dare to look up at this beautiful aunt. Kushina's hair is so pretty. Asuka couldn't help but touch it. And this little face, it's so rosy, like a little tomato, it's so cute. Asuka praised repeatedly and seemed to be unable to let go of Kushina's hand. Her vision and aesthetics are consistent with Luyun's, and even her evaluations are almost exactly the same. It can only be said that these 2 are worthy of being mother and son. Mom, Kushina doesn't like being called tomato. Luyun reminded with a wry smile. Ah, sorry, I don't know. Asuka was a little surprised. She tried to suppress her smile and wanted to apologize, but she heard Kushina hurriedly waving her hand and explaining. No, I just don't like eating tomatoes. It's okay to call me tomato. PFF ha ha ha. Asuka couldn't hold back her laughter any longer, she thought this little girl was so cute. Luyun was also amused by her words. The 3 of them stood at the door and chatted for a while. Asuka wanted to take her into the house, but Kushina politely declined. Auntie, it's getting late, I want to go home. Let's have dinner at our house tonight. Auntie will prepare delicious food for you. Asuka wanted to keep the other person. Mom, you have to make a reservation in advance for dinner, otherwise Kushina's family, Uzumaki Mito, won't be able to wait for her and will be very anxious. Luyun came to her rescue. That's right. Okay then. Kushina, come to our house and play next time. Asuka gently pinched Kushina's round face and smiled. Okay, okay. Kushina nodded shyly. Luyun, please send Nana off for me. I'm going to cook for you. Luyun walked side by side with Kushina and sent her to the fork in the road. I'm leaving, you can go back. Kushina said in a low voice. Okay, see you tomorrow. Luyun smiled. The ninja school has a lot of classes and the only day off is Sunday, so they have to go to school tomorrow. Yeah. See you tomorrow. Kushina smiled sweetly, then turned and ran like a little elf. After she ran for some distance, she suddenly remembered something. Oh. Didn't I come here to fight him? Thinking of this, she subconsciously turned around and looked back, only to see that the boy was still there and had not left. When he saw her turn around, the other person smiled meaningfully and waved at her vigorously. It's so embarrassing. Seeing her reluctant look, Kushina suppressed her shame and turned into another intersection as if escaping. Since he's so sensible today, I won't beat him for now. We can talk about it later when we have time. Kushina talked to herself as she walked, the corners of her mouth almost curled up to the sky. As soon as Luyun returned home, Asuka came over mysteriously. Son, Kushina is the girl who told you that you have a beautiful forehead, right? Forehead. His gossipy mother left him speechless, but he finally nodded, as a sign of admission. Hey, sure, son. The little girl has delicate features, a straight waist and long legs. She is a typical beauty. When she grows up, she will be so charming that it will kill people. If you act now. Mom, aren't you going to cook? Go quickly. Before Asuka could finish her words, Luyun interrupted her hurriedly. This woman has revealed the secret in one sentence. We can't let her continue talking. Haha. You still feel shy. Look at your blushing face, just like Kushina. Asuka laughed so hard that tears fell. Luyun's face turned red, and he glared at her angrily before running out of the room. Seeing this, Asuka laughed even louder. When it was time for dinner, the mother and son sat down at the table, and Asuka asked about why Luyun knew how to cook. Son, were the 2 dishes for lunch made by Kushina? She still didn't believe that her son could cook. She wouldn't have thought so before she saw Kushina, but when she heard that Kushina was at home with him, she instantly understood what was going on. The dishes might have been made by the little girl. I made it, but Kushina taught me. Her family has many unique recipes. After thinking for a while, Luyun attributed the reason for being able to cook to Kushina. I was wondering how my son could suddenly become such a good cook and even make dishes I've never made before. Sure enough, it was all the work of that little girl. Asuka was a little disappointed, but Luyun's next words made her eyes light up and a smile appeared on her face again. Kushina taught me a lot of dishes. I'll cook them for you one by one when I have time. Good. Asuka nodded repeatedly, feeling more and more satisfied with the little girl. It must be her who made Luyun so sensible. Puppy love. Although it is indeed too early, it is not impossible. Chapter 27. The Uchiha who are divided against themselves, the family infighting in public. Inside the ninja school. He-Yan is that heartless ungrateful bastard. I was beaten up by a little bastard for him. Not only did he not thank me, he even blamed me for causing trouble for him. Who the hell was I doing this for? On the playground, the Uchiha clan gathered together, and Uchiha Yuta had an ugly look on his face and cursed. Ah! Did he come to find you too? An Uchiha disciple was very surprised. He also came to me. Not only did that bastard not care about our injuries, but he also complained about us meddling in his affairs, saying that we would ruin him and prevent him from becoming a ninja in the future. Uchiha Yan spoke with red eyes. He was sickened last night and didn't sleep well the whole night. Uchiha Kazuhiko found 8 people in one night, and his efficiency was absolutely first-rate. He was afraid that he wouldn't be forgiven by the little bastard and wouldn't be able to be a ninja, so he acted like that. We didn't inform him in advance, so things turned out to be a mess. Uchiha Cheni sighed. What nonsense are you talking about? Are you blaming us? The hot-tempered Uchiha Yuta got angry. That's not what I meant. I meant that no one can be blamed for this. Bullshit. Stop trying to smooth things over here. This is all the fault of that bastard Heian. If he hadn't called the little bastard a bastard, how could there be so many problems? An Uchiha stood up to express his dissatisfaction. Yes, it's all that ungrateful bastard's fault. Uchiha Yuta echoed. I was lying in bed all day yesterday recovering from my injuries. My mom asked me how I got hurt, but I didn't dare to tell the truth. The Uchiha, whose shin bone was injured by an elbow the day before yesterday, stood up and spoke out. They all spoke with one voice and no one dared to say that they were beaten. They couldn't say that they were beaten to the ground and beaten by 8 people. Even if they did, their parents might not stand up for them. He was so shameless as to hit others, and the key point was that even with so many people, he couldn't beat them. Any parent with a bit of shame would not cause trouble for Luyun's family because of this. Moreover, ninja is a fighting profession, and being injured by classmates or hitting others is normal. As long as it is not too excessive, parents of students generally will not make a big deal out of it. I warned you the day before yesterday not to cause trouble for that little bastard, but you guys just claim to be righteous and want to uphold justice for an idiot like Kazuhiko. A 6th grade student named Uchiha Chingmang sneered. He was one of the few people who opposed bullying the little bastard. But his words were ignored before, and he was criticized by many people instead. Now the facts have proved that he was right. Seeing that these tribesmen did not listen to his advice and suffered setbacks, he felt inexplicably happy in his heart. To put it bluntly, you just thought that the little bastard was easy to bully. You wanted to use his reputation to prove your status to the lower-level tribesmen, but you ended up getting beaten up. Now you're stuck in a dilemma. Uchiha Chingmang slapped everyone in the face in public and told the bloody truth without any concealment. His words instantly caused several people to become furious. Asshole, stop talking nonsense here. Aren't we doing this for our people? Yes, aren't we here to protect the reputation of the Uchiha? Chingmang, stop being so sarcastic and framing others. Uchiha Yuta, Uchiha En and others all looked furious. But brother Luyun is also a member of our clan. A junior Uchiha whispered. Protect the Uchiha clan. If you ask me, you are destroying the reputation of the Uchiha clan. The little bastard is originally a member of our Uchiha clan. What happened between him and Kazuhiko is also a personal matter. It was you guys who claimed to be righteous who embarrassed him in public, forcing the little bastard to have no choice but to break with the Uchiha clan. Why do you still think you are not wrong now? Someone else has stood up to speak for Luyun. That's right, you are not doing this for Uchiha, you are just using the name of Uchiha for your own sake. For the idiot Kazuhiko, you deserve to be beaten, you deserve to be resented. Asshole, say another word if you dare. What's the matter? Do you have to resort to violence when you can't win the argument? A clown like you is qualified to uphold justice for others. That's not the case. Listen to me. Suddenly, the Uchiha clan in the school was in chaos because of Luyun's matter. The clan members who were originally barely united began to blame, abuse, and even fight each other because of different ideas. The noise they made attracted a lot of people, and Uchiha became a complete laughingstock in the school. The moment Luyun stepped into the campus with his school bag on his back, he instantly noticed something unusual on the playground. The Uchiha clan was actually fighting among themselves and even beating each other in public. His name and nickname occasionally appear among some of the tribe's people. It seems that the incident was caused by him, and the grudges from the day before yesterday continued to today. Luyun looked coldly at the group of Uchiha on the playground. He had no intention of stepping forward to quell the turmoil. In fact, if he stood up and spoke at this time, he could completely win the hearts of the people, and even people like Uchiha and Uchiha Yuta might have a chance of being conquered. Unfortunately, he didn't have this idea. The day before yesterday, no Uchiha stood up to say a fair word for him, so why should he stand up to calm the storm today? The fact that he pressed those Uchiha to the ground and rubbed them proved one fact: the so-called human heart and justice are worthless in the face of power. Besides, What's the point of taming a bunch of Uchiha brats? Becoming the leader of the kids. There's no real benefit except being able to show off in public. Moreover, today's result was caused intentionally by him. They, mother and son, were treated as bastards and outsiders by the Uchiha clan, so he naturally would not humiliate himself and cater to this group of people. On Earth, when you have money, you will never lack friends. In the ninja world, when you have strength, you will never lack friends or even followers. Luyun's current plan is to secretly engage in internal competition without telling anyone. He needs to build up and consolidate the foundation of strength first. If possible, he didn't want to expose his abilities other than taijutsu in front of others, nor did he want to bring anyone other than Kushina to play. Class is about to start, why aren't you going back to the classroom? Luyun saw Kushina among the crowd of onlookers. Her red hair was so conspicuous that it was hard not to notice her. Ah, you're here. Yes, 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 let's go to class. Kushina couldn't hide her joy when she saw him. She followed Luyun with a smile, and the two of them ignored the crowd and walked towards the classroom together. Let me tell you, that group of Uchiha just now. Chapter 28. Minato almost died on the spot, the eccentric of the Uchiha clan. Kushina sat next to him and told him about the Uchiha clan's internal strife on the playground. Luyun listened with great interest and nodded from time to time as a response to her. Hey, Minato, why are you always spying on us? Is there something you want to say? Kushina suddenly looked at Minato Namikaze with a stern face. This guy always sneaks a peek at people, and when she notices him, he immediately looks away. Kushina hates this behavior. She had noticed this more than once or twice, and now she finally couldn't help but complain and ask questions. Hearing this, Luyun looked at the Lolita, Minato behind him. Minato's face flushed and he waved his hands to deny it. He was so anxious that he was sweating profusely and didn't dare to admit that he was peeking at others. You still say no? Do you dare to look and recognize it? Kushina stared at him with a bad face. Minato almost died on the spot, but fortunately at the critical moment, the Chunin teacher walked into the classroom and attracted attention. At this time, Luyun also spoke up to save the situation. Isn't it normal for Minato to see the front while sitting behind us? This is inevitable. You can't let people close their eyes in class. Wow, Luyun-kun is still reasonable. Minato was deeply moved, and his eyes were full of gratitude when he looked at Luyun. Did Minato peek? Of course he did. Not only did he peek, but he also pricked up his ears to eavesdrop on their conversation. If not, he would not have been caught by Kushina, let alone scolded. After all, Minato wasn't the only one sitting in the back. The classmate behind Kushina didn't have a good quirk, like Minato. Kushina felt that what Luyun said made some sense, but she didn't think she had wronged Minato, so she couldn't help but muttered quietly. The main thing is that he always looks at people with the side of his eyes. He is such a strange guy. Finally, she gave Minato a warning glare. Minato felt that he was wronged. He used to be scolded for looking straight at others, and now he would be scolded for looking at others sideways. He felt that Kushina was too malicious towards him. Wasn't it just that when she first arrived at the school, Minato laughed at her once with his classmates? He couldn't help it at that time. As for you, since then, she has been resentful towards him and has never given him any good face. Instead, she always called him a sissy. Okay, students, be quiet, class is starting now. The first class was over, and Luyun was just about to get up and go outside the classroom with Kushina to get some fresh air when he saw several Uchiha Elementary School students walking towards him. Luyun, we all know about what happened between you and Kazuhiko, and how Yuta and the others blocked you last time. Those bastards deserved it, and we all support you. Yes, yes, we support you. Luyun, you are so amazing. You defeated Yan, Yuta and the others by yourself. Uchiha Chingmeng was the first to speak, and several Uchiha clan members also showed their goodwill to him. Luyun's expression at this moment was slightly surprised. His bright eyes slowly swept over the group of Uchiha, but he remained silent and said nothing. These people used to call him, little bastard, but today they changed their name. Just as the atmosphere in the room was becoming somewhat solemn, Luyun smiled gently and spoke softly. Thank you for your enthusiastic support. You all know my strength. It's impossible for me to defeat them alone. I don't have the ability to do so. It was Kushina who helped me. I was lucky enough to drive them away. Luyun spoke without hesitation, still choosing to keep a low profile. Kushina stared at him blankly. This guy was so strong, but he always lived like an old man. Now is the time to become famous. Isn't it good to make a name for yourself? Then who will dare to bully you and call you a little bastard? In Kushina's opinion, Ryun is simply a rare flower in the Uchiha clan, and his personality is almost completely opposite to those people. I see. Uchiha Chingmang nodded subconsciously. He had a rough idea of Luyun's strength, and there might be some misjudgments, but he didn't think it was unreasonable for Luyun to be able to take on 8 people at the same time with his strength. Now that Luyun said this, everything made sense. With the help of blood red pepper, it is normal for him to be able to drive away Uchiha Yan and others. The few of them chatted and laughed for a long time. They did not leave in disgrace after knowing the truth. Although Luyun's strength was exaggerated, it was definitely not that bad. As for why Uchiha Yuta and the others exaggerated, and said that they were beaten up by Luyun. In Uchiha Chingmang's opinion, the other party probably wanted to maintain the Uchiha clan's face. After all, losing to Uzumaki Kushina, an outsider, and a woman at that. It's embarrassing to think about it. Instead of saying that, it would be better to just say that I lost to that little bastard. These Uchiha disciples stayed beside Luyun and kept criticizing another group of Uchiha. Luyun kept smiling and didn't say much, just nodded occasionally in response. It was not until the class bell rang that the group said goodbye and left. Why are you lying? It was obviously you who defeated those Uchiha, and you still say, it was all thanks to me that they were able to win. Kushina muttered softly, this bad guy just keeps talking nonsense. How could I lie? Just tell me whether you helped me or not. Luyun looked at her with a smile. Yes, there is, but... Kushina was speechless for a moment. Yes, isn't that it? It's all thanks to Nana who encouraged me and helped me share the pressure. Otherwise, my brother might have been beaten to death. Luyun leaned over and whispered softly in her ear. A faint warm breath passed over her white neck, causing her heartbeat to speed up and her breathing to quicken. These almost teasing words turned Kushina's pretty face into a big tomato. Minato Namikaze, who was doing nothing in the back, was stunned by the scene and was extremely curious. What did Luyun say to Kushina that could make her instantly become a docile ostrich and not dare to move? And she also looked so red-faced. Minato really wanted to know what the two of them were talking about in secret. Thinking of this, Minato was suddenly frightened by himself. What does it have to do with me? I was determined not to peek or eavesdrop. What's wrong with me? Do I really have some special fetish? Minato fell into deep self-doubt. He would never be like this before. He has been in a bad state recently and has difficulty concentrating in class. He always unconsciously pays attention to the two people in front of him. Chapter 29. A terrible nickname, he can't stand seeing girls cry. Several days passed in a flash, during which time Uchiha Kazuhiko returned to the ninja school. However, after he came back, he was isolated and squeezed out by all the tribesmen. No one wanted to be friends with this ungrateful person anymore. Luyun didn't care about what happened to him. After that guy had learned a painful lesson, he didn't dare to provoke him and Kushina again. But there was one thing that made Luyun speechless, that was Sato and others in his class, who continued to trouble Luyun and Kushina every day without getting tired of it. They had never experienced Luyun's true strength, and seeing that Luyun was not angry when being called a bastard, they just made fun of him and Kushina, putting them together, as usual. These guys are very good at taking advantage of every opportunity, and they are so mean that even Luyun has to admit defeat. Luyun usually chooses to ignore this group of dog skin plasters, that can't be shaken off. These little bastards are stubborn and even more stubborn. Even if you beat them up, they will dare to do it again next time, and may even become even more aggressive. If they could be convinced by being beaten, Kushina would have dealt with them long ago. For example, the primary school student who was slapped in the cunt last time, except that he didn't dare to touch Luyun's hair again. When it was time to go on stage to discuss the two of them, he was still there. The main point of this group of bitches is, either you beat me to death, or if you can't, I will curse you to death. Luyun sometimes couldn't help but admire their perseverance and courage. In this world, there really are elementary school students who are not afraid of being beaten. Kushina still scolds when she needs to, and beats when she can't scold enough. This time Luyun took the initiative to help her, and the two of them worked together to beat Sato and his group of elementary school students so hard that they cried for their parents. Even if they called for help from other classes, it would be of no use. For a time, Kushina and Luyun became famous in the same grade. Some people gave them a very intimidating and loud nickname based on the color of their hair. The Black and Red Devils. Which idiot came up with this nickname? If I knew, I would beat him to death. Kushina's cheeks puffed up with anger, and her pink little fists clenched until they made crackling sounds. Luyun didn't dare to say anything, he was a little amused and helpless. Following Kushina, he has always played the role of a little brother. This kind of high profile will not be noticed by those who care, and sometimes it is inevitable to be severely despised by others. Because he mainly engages in verbal battles, the kind of try not to use violence if you can force it. He often hides behind Kushina during fights, making people angry and helpless, and he seems to enjoy it. He thought that as long as he could live a happy life, and if he could make some people unhappy, then it would not be a big deal to be a lackey occasionally. Kushina was good at fighting, but she couldn't usually win in an argument. Luyun just happened to help her make up for this defect. It is precisely because anyone who messes with these two people will be in big trouble recently, that some people have given them such a cool nickname as the Black and Red Devils. Luyun, you don't have to go to class tomorrow. Do you remember our previous agreement? During the last break before Sunday, Kushina blushed and asked this question. What agreement? Luyun asked subconsciously. Have you forgotten the promise I made with you on the day we met? Kushina reminded him with a frown. The day I looked into your eyes. Luyun thought about it for a moment, but couldn't remember it immediately. Kushina looked at him with resentment. As class time was about to start, Luyun didn't bother to think too much, and he felt a little urgent to pee, so he just got up and ran to the toilet. When he came back, it was time for class, so he lost the chance to continue communicating with Kushina. The last class of the day was about the basics of ninjutsu, which was something that Luyun considered very important. For a moment, he was so absorbed in listening that he didn't notice Kushina's increasingly resentful look. When the school bell rang, it also signaled the successful completion of the last class before Sunday. The elementary school students in the class could not hide their excitement. They packed their bags as quickly as possible and ran out of the school in a hurry. Luyun packed his things leisurely. He turned around with a smile on his face, only to see that the red-haired girl had already stood up before him. Luyun shouted loudly, but the other party ignored him and walked away very decisively. What happened? Luyun was a little confused. Without giving him time to think, he quickly picked up his school bag and hurriedly chased after Kushina. When he arrived at the school gate and saw Kushina's back, he was about to call for help, but he saw someone following her stealthily. What does that little bastard Sato want to do? Luyun didn't quite understand what was going on, but out of curiosity, he still secretly followed the other person. He wanted to see what bad shit this little bastard was up to and why he was following Kushina. Isn't this Sato? Is this guy following Kushina? Minato Namikaze, who was originally on his way home, suddenly discovered this strange scene. After a slight hesitation, he followed quietly behind. Minato, that brat, how come he followed us? Since Luyun was the last one to fall behind, he also spotted Minato's figure. At this moment, Kushina was sometimes dejected, sometimes sad, and sometimes irritable. She did not look back, nor did she notice the series of followers behind her. While passing through a cherry blossom forest in the Senju clan's territory, a scene took place that left a deep impression on Luyun. Sato has been beaten up by Kushina a lot recently, so he called his genin brother and prepared to take revenge on Kushina in the cherry blossom forest. Minato was originally hiding in a tree and secretly watching the three people arguing on the ground, but suddenly he seemed to notice something. The moment he turned around, he found Luyun standing on another big tree. Luyun smiled and made a gesture to silence him. Luyun, this guy also followed me here when. Although he was very surprised, Minato still smiled awkwardly and nodded in response. As he watched the genin chasing after Kushina, Minato noticed that Ryun was acting unusually calm, and he didn't even seem to have any intention of helping. Is he not going to show up? Minato was surprised. You know, these two are known as the Black and Red Devils, and they are the most famous names in the school recently. Luyun restrained his breath and stared at Kushina silently like Minato. This is a small battle that can make Kushina realize her own strength. This battle can also make Kushina realize a fact, that is, the elementary school students in the ninja school and the real ninjas are completely two different concepts. Luyun thinks it is actually a good thing to realize this by suffering a loss in advance. Of course, he thought so, but when he saw Kushina being kicked to the ground and her hair being grabbed fiercely, he still couldn't remain completely indifferent. You didn't even realize that this was a substitute technique. He's really just a little kid. This hair is thick and red, it's really an eyesore. The genin had a look of pride on his face after defeating a little girl who wasn't even a ninja. You deserve it. Sato was gloating on the side. Call out. A shuriken scratched the back of the genin's hand at an extremely fast speed, and the big hand that was grabbing the red-haired man instantly let go in a hurry because of the pain. Luyun could watch her suffer a little so that she could realize the sinisterness and cunningness of ninjas. But I can't bear to see the little girl crying and shedding tears. Chapter 30 Luyun wants to kill someone. Give brother Sato a new haircut. Hearing this familiar voice, the tears on Kushina's face stopped instantly. A shadow instantly fell in front of her, and before she could look up, she saw a rough little hand reaching out in front of her. Kushina subconsciously placed her hand on him, and Luyun smiled and pulled her up from the ground. This warm and powerful palm gave Kushina a full sense of security. When she saw that familiar gentle smile, the grievances buried in her heart instantly poured out like a flood. She pursed her lips and tears as big as beans kept falling. She may never forget this scene in her life. Luyun raised his hand to wipe the tears from her cheeks. After all, you are the invincible blood-red pepper. How can you cry over a small setback? Hearing the evaluation of invincible, and the name, blood-red pepper, Kushina burst into laughter instantly. Realizing her own loss of composure, Kushina instantly felt embarrassed and annoyed, and she slammed her head hard into Luyun's small chest. Humph! Luyun's smile froze instantly and he groaned. He was almost knocked out by this blow. Kushina's crying, laughing, and shy appearance stunned Minato Namikaze on the tree for a moment. The relationship between these two people is closer than he thought. You little bastard. Brother, this guy also bullied me in school. The two of them are known as the Black and Red Devils in school. Please teach him a lesson for me. Sato pointed at Luyun angrily. The Black and Red Devils. Are they so arrogant? The genin sneered. You were the one who threw the shuriken just now, right? You are such a nosy guy. With such poor accuracy, you dare to imitate others and save the damsel in distress. The genin pressed the back of his slightly injured hand with a sarcastic look on his face. The shuriken just now only broke his skin. This was actually because Luyun intentionally held back. In order to reduce unnecessary trouble, weapons should be used as little as possible. Causing too serious injuries to the village ninjas will definitely attract the attention of the Anbu. You are a graduated genin, And you come here to bully a girl who is still in school. Look how proud you are. Lu Yun stared at the genin and spoke coldly. He pulled Kushina aside and then took the initiative to strode towards the other party. Hee hee. You sharp-tongued brat, let me teach you how to use the shuriken. The genin grinned, pulled out a shuriken from his ninja tool bag, and threw it towards Lu Yun's face. The speeding shuriken quickly enlarged in Lu Yun's eyes, and Kushina, who was standing by, was a little panicked watching this scene. But before she could say a word to remind him, Lu Yun calmly tilted his head and the shuriken instantly flew past his cheek. He dodged at just the right moment, without any panic or pause in his steps. This move immediately amazed everyone and made the genin brother show an expression of disbelief. He had just said he wanted to teach others how to use shuriken, but in the blink of an eye, a little kid easily dodged it. He couldn't accept this result. Asshole. The genin gritted his teeth and cursed inwardly, then clenched his fist and rushed forward, hitting Lu Yun in the face with his sandbag-sized fist. Lu Yun dodged several consecutive punches by shaking his head left and right, just like dodging shurikens, and easily avoided a sweeping kick by stepping back. In his eyes, the movements of the genin brother seemed slow and stiff, and there were flaws all over his body. Putting aside whether he knows ninjutsu or not, this guy's taijutsu is, to some extent, even worse than that of elementary school student Uchiha N. Damn it, you can only hide. The genin threw a punch but was dodged by turning his head. Before he could finish his words, Lu Yun appeared and punched him hard in the abdomen. The terrifying explosive force acted on him instantly, and before the genin could even utter a cry, his entire body was blown away like a cannonball. So strong. Minato in the tree couldn't help but exclaim in a low voice. The explosion happened so fast that even he couldn't react. Is it the body flickering technique? Minato murmured. He remembered a powerful ninjutsu that his teacher once explained. No, there is no seal. This is the instantaneous explosive power generated by the legs alone. The genin rolled on the ground for more than 10 times. The moment he stopped, he felt dizzy and his stomach was twitching. The next moment, he heard a wow, and vomited all the food he had eaten at noon. Elder brother. Sato screamed. He was just about to go over to check on his brother's condition, but Lu Yun appeared in front of him first and kicked him to the ground. What? Sato cried out in pain, almost crying, but before he could get up, Lu Yun sat directly on his back with a kunai in his hand. Ah! What are you doing? Killing people. Sato was frightened by this move. Seeing Lu Yun take out a kunai with a stern face, Minato in the tree was also shocked. Mr. Lu Yun, stop messing around. Minato hurriedly spoke out to stop him. Lu Yun ignored Minato. He grabbed Sato's hair with a sly smile, as if he was going to cut off his head. Sato was so frightened that he burst into tears. Don't kill me. Help. Sato scratched around on the ground with his hands and kicked hard with his feet, but no matter how he struggled he could not get rid of the figure on him. Lu Yun, don't. Seeing Lu Yun raising the kunai in his hand high and preparing to chop it down, Kushina's mind went blank for a moment, and she subconsciously opened her mouth and shouted to stop him. If Lu Yun were to lose a life because of this, his wonderful life would probably be ruined. Although Kushina hated Sato, the other party's crime did not deserve the death penalty. If Lu Yun killed him, Kushina couldn't imagine what terrible consequences would follow. Minato couldn't bear to watch it anymore. He quickly jumped down from the tree, but before he could make a move to stop it, he saw Lu Yun taking action before him. Call out. A cold light flashed by, and Minato had no time to rescue him. He could only watch the scene happen with wide eyes. Kushina covered her eyes in fear. Sato on the ground wet his pants. Don't you like to make fun of other people's hair? Today I will give you a haircut for free, ha 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 ha. Lu Yun laughed and stood up. Minato was a little amused when watching this scene. Hearing Lu Yun's laughter, Kushina quickly looked up. The expected bloodiness did not occur, but when she saw the bald Sato lying on the ground, she was stunned on the spot. Looking at the short hair casually thrown in front of him, and touching the cold top of his head, Sato's face was full of disbelief, and the next moment he let out a terrifying scream at the top of his voice. "Stop screaming, take your brother and get out of here, or I'll shave off your eyebrows." Lu Yun smiled and kicked him in the butt. The screams stopped abruptly. Sato hurriedly got up from the ground, grabbed his seriously injured brother and ran away. Both of them looked as miserable as they could be. "You deserve it. Ha 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 ha." After realizing what was happening, Kushina couldn't help but burst into laughter. The bald Sato was so funny and so miserable. How could she feel wronged at this moment? She laughed so hard that her stomach hurt. Lu Yun and Shuiman, who were standing together, couldn't help laughing out loud when they saw the two brothers fleeing in embarrassment. Chapter 31. The way to make money for the cute little pepper. The breeze is blowing gently and the red cherry blossoms are everywhere. In the picturesque cherry blossom forest, a pair of outstanding-looking students were walking together among the sea of flowers. "When did you and Minato come here?" Kushina asked with a smile on her face. "Of course I followed you. I didn't notice so many little tails following me. I'm so stupid." Lu Yun rolled his eyes at her. "Ah. Why are you all following me?" Kushina stared at him with a strange look on her face. "What's with that expression on your face? Do you think I'm a pervert who follows little girls?" Lu Yun glared at her with an unhappy look on his face. "Hee, you said that yourself, I didn't say that." "Humph. If that Sato guy wasn't following you, do you think I would want to follow you?" "Then why didn't you remind me?" Kushina asked, blinking her big eyes. "You still dare to say I didn't call you? Did I call you after school? The more I called you, the faster you walked." Lu Yun's voice unconsciously rose several decibels. Then, who told you to forget the promise?" Kushina muttered softly with her head down. "When did I forget? Isn't it just teaching you the art of throwing? I'll come find you tomorrow. After school, before I could even talk to you, you started throwing a tantrum and ignored me." Lu Yun looked at her with resentment on his face. "We." Kushina suddenly laughed out loud, and she took the initiative to hug Lu Yun's arm and began to shake it coquettishly. That cute, smiling face made Lu Yun dazed and helpless at the same time. So this girl can also act cute and coquettish. Actually, when she doesn't lose her temper or get mad, little tomato is still very sweet. Brother Lu Yun doesn't have the heart to scold her anymore. "I'm here. It's getting late. You should go back soon." Lu Yun sent her to the gate of the Senju clan. Kushina pushed his back with a smile, indicating that he could leave. "I'll wait for you at the door tomorrow morning at 7. Kushina took the initiative to set a time, then smiled and waved goodbye to him. "Oh." Lu Yun nodded, but his attention was attracted by two figures in the Thousand Hands tribe's territory. The two figures were one big and one small, and Lu Yun knew their names. Tsunade and Nawaki. At this time, Tsunade was standing with her hands on her hips, scolding her younger brother who had made a mistake. Because the distance was too far, Lu Yun couldn't hear clearly what she was saying. At this time, Nawaki had already graduated from the ninja school early, and was accepted as a direct disciple by Orochimaru, and had been learning ninjutsu from him. "We have a forehead protector for Rope Tree. It seems that the Second Ninja World War is not far away," Lu Yun murmured in a low voice. In fact, at this moment, the Konoha ninjas have already started fighting with the Sand Village ninjas in the Rain Country. It's just that both sides have been exercising restraint and large-scale fighting has not yet broken out. World War II has actually officially begun. Only when the Hidden Rain Village officially intervenes and declares war on the Fire Country will the three ninjas rush to the battlefield of the Rain Country one after another. And this Rope Tree would also follow his master Orochimaru to the battlefield, and died gloriously on the first day of the battlefield, becoming the first supporting character in the original work to be killed by the explosive talisman trap. Orochimaru witnessed his bravery and summarized it in one sentence: "The Rope Tree has great momentum. The Rope Tree rushes very fast. The Rope Tree flies very high." Lu Yun sighed softly and looked at the young figure, feeling a little bit regretful. But he couldn't remind people of this kind of thing, and even if he did, it might not work, because it was too ridiculous. People would not believe his words, and they would not carefully observe their feet every step they took. If this kind of thing is told out, it will be fine as long as the other party is alive and well, and Luyun's reminder will be regarded as a joke. But if the person still died after he told it, and the matter was known by a third person, then he would most likely be in big trouble. Especially for an alien like Orochimaru, who has a mind as smart as a demon, he would not take such a thing as a coincidence. Luyun would not put himself in danger. What's more, he was not familiar with Shengshu at all, so he would not get into trouble because of it. The next morning, Luyun tied weights on his calves and started a new day of training. This was one of the new bodybuilding equipment he bought. Asuka was afraid that he wouldn't grow taller after using the weights, so she only allowed him to tie them around his calves and not above his knees. Fitness equipment is expensive, bodybuilding equipment is expensive, weapons and hidden weapons are expensive, and ninja tools such as detonating talismans and sealing scrolls are even more expensive. Luyun plans to find a job to earn money. Asuka is under a lot of pressure and works very hard, and he can't add any more financial burden to his mother. Shadow clone technique. Luyun formed seals with his hands and created a clone. The original body went to the Senju tribe's territory to prepare for the appointment, while the shadow clone walked towards a crowded street. At 6:50, when Luyun arrived at the gate of the Senju clan, he saw Kushina already standing there, looking forward to it. "Where are we going to practice throwing today?" Kushina's little face was full of excitement. She even brought a ninja tool bag with her today, which was filled to the brim with hidden weapons. "Both are fine," Luyun replied with a smile. "It doesn't matter where you throw the hidden weapon. Just take a piece of chalk, find a tree and draw a circle. There is no requirement for the location. Then let's go to the cherry blossom forest. The scenery there is beautiful and it's relatively quiet." Kushina took the initiative to suggest that the cherry blossom forest is a good place for a date. "Okay, it's up to you. Let's go." Just like yesterday, Kushina pushed his back with her little hands and urged him repeatedly. Shadow clone location. Luyun waited in front of a bookstore for a long time, until almost 9 o'clock in the morning, when the bookstore owner yawned and opened the door of the shop. Isn't this Xiao Luyun? Do you want to buy comic books so early?" The boss's name is Wu Shanming. He runs a bookstore and is also a cartoonist. When he saw the flowing clouds at the door, he was stunned for a while. Both parties are very familiar with each other. Luyun is a comic fan and is considered an old customer of his store. "No, I came to discuss business with my uncle today." Luyun took the initiative to walk into the bookstore. "Talk about business. What kind of business can you talk to me about?" Wu Shanming was a little confused. "I want to work with my uncle. I will write the story and you will draw the picture. Let's create a new comic book together." Luyun looked at Wu Shanming seriously. "You are kidding me." Wu Shanming spoke with a dark face. If Luyun was not a regular customer of the store, he would have wanted to kick him out. "I'm not kidding. This is the beginning of a story I wrote, along with a partial outline." Luyun handed the draft he had prepared last night to Wu Shanming. "You can take a look. If you find the story interesting, we can work together. If you find it boring, then I can change to another story." Wu Shanming frowned slightly as he looked at the draft, but after hearing Luyun's clear and concise explanation, and seeing that no one was visiting the bookstore at the moment, he finally started to read the draft with reluctance. Dragon Ball. Wu Shanming subconsciously read out this strange book title. But soon he was completely attracted by the novel story, and his eyes gradually widened and brightened. Chapter 32. Trading Stories for Money, Teaching Kushina Skills. Soon, the beginning and outline of the story were carefully read over by Wu Shanming. Collect 7 Dragon Balls to summon a dragon. The story is novel and very attractive, and the main and supporting characters are also interesting and fun. Are these really all your ideas? Wu Shanming couldn't help but admire. Compared to other Japanese and Chinese comics, Dragon Ball is very suitable for spreading in the ninja world and is more accepted by the young people in this world. Luyun wrote this after careful consideration. Of course, Lu Yun put his hands in his pockets and started talking. I never thought you could have such a creative mind, and write such a good work. Wu Shanming sighed repeatedly. He felt that this boy was a genius and was born to do this job. So, uncle, are you interested in this story? If not, then I can only find someone else to collaborate with. Lu Yun smiled and said that if Wu Shanming was not interested, he could find someone else. He had a good story and was not afraid of not finding someone to cooperate with. There was more than one bookstore in Konoha, and more than one cartoonist. Yes, I do, but are you sure you can write a sequel to this story? If you suddenly stop writing, or write randomly. Wu Shanming was a little hesitant. He really liked this story, but Lu Yun was too young and he was afraid that the other party would collapse later. Don't worry, I can guarantee that the subsequent stories will be exciting. Lu Yun said lightly. He is still very confident about Dragon Ball. Then give it a try, create one issue first and see how the market reacts. Wu Shanming was a very decisive person. He quickly finalized a series of follow-up agreements with Lu Yun. He originally wanted to buy out the entire story directly, but Lu Yun didn't want to make quick money and wanted to earn more, so he politely declined the offer. I still have more stories. As long as Uncle can update them quickly enough, we will have plenty of opportunities to cooperate in the future. Lu Yun smiled. For some excellent cartoonists, as long as they were given a complete mainline outline, they would be able to create an excellent comic work. Lu Yun watched a lot of anime in his previous life, so it was too easy for him to copy a few stories. Dragon Ball, One Piece, Bleach, Digimon, Demon Slayer, Attack on Titan, Full-Time Master, Fairy Tail, etc. Which story can't make money? If the comics in the book are not good enough, there are still the ones from my hometown in China. I can just copy a few of them and it will be more than enough to support my family. Don't worry about that. Uncle has a professional team behind him who will make sure that the Dragon Ball comics can be published as quickly as possible. Lu Yun nodded and discussed cooperation matters with Wu Shanming for a long time. In the cherry blossom forest. Pay attention to the wind direction and speed, keep a calm mind, and make your moves smooth and natural, not too stiff. The shadow clone Ryayun taught Kushina the throwing technique step by step, while the original body was jumping and shuttling among the complex and ever-changing woods. His feet left footprints on the cherry tree, and the chakra in his body was being consumed at an extremely fast rate. It's too difficult to achieve explosive acceleration on a tree without leaving any damage or marks on the tree. Lu Yun looked at the clear footprints behind him and sighed. This is the next stage of training for the body instant technique. To complete this training, one must reach a state of making light of heavy objects. The first stage of training the body flash technique is the instantaneous burst of chakra coordinated with the body. The second stage of practice is to control that instantaneous explosive power. It is said that when one reaches the pinnacle of this stage, one can even step on the air and walk in midair. This is the instant body movement technique that Might Dai taught him. Lu Yun didn't think that Lao Dai was bragging, because he had read the original work and knew that this could really be done after opening the 8 gates and releasing the body's potential. Might Dai has a very thorough understanding of the body flickering technique. There are people in the original work who are faster than him, but they are definitely few and far between. This is based on the premise that he did not open the 8 gates. Once the 8 gates were opened, the exaggerated speed was obviously faster than the Flying Thunder God technique in a short distance, so fast that even 6 paths Madara could not react. The body flickering technique is a high-level ninjutsu that only a Jonin can master, while the body flickering technique belongs to the category of physical techniques. In terms of learning difficulty, the latter is 10 times more difficult than the former. The speed of the key body flash technique is not fixed. This technique will become stronger as your body becomes stronger, and the upper limit of speed depends on your physical strength. In addition to these 2 types of instant body movement techniques, there is also an advanced version of the ordinary instant body movement technique, which is the ninjutsu instant body movement technique. For example, the demigod Hanzo's water flash body technique, the Raikage's lightning Flash Body Technique, and before Minato Namikaze mastered the Flying Thunder God technique, he used the Wind Flash Body Technique, and there is also the unknown type of Flash Body Technique of Flash Body Shisui. All of those who have mastered the ninjutsu of instant body movement are famous for their speed, and all of them are renowned for their power. Lu Yun currently has no access to ordinary body flickering techniques, let alone the advanced version of the ninjutsu, and the only teacher who is willing to teach him the technique is Might Dai. Might Dai is a 10,000-year-old genin, who doesn't know any ninjutsu, so he naturally doesn't know the instant body movement ninjutsu, but he does know this instant body movement technique. Lu Yun wanted to become stronger right now, so he naturally would not miss the instant body technique. Most ninjutsu and techniques can be learned through shadow clones, so he is not worried that he will not be able to learn ninjutsu and illusion in the future. He wanted to be an all-around ninja and he wanted to learn ninjutsu, genjutsu, and taijutsu. Lu Yun, I also want to learn the shadow clone technique, can you teach me? Kushina shook the shadow clone's arm and acted coquettishly. She didn't expect that Lu Yun could master such a powerful ninjutsu. The shadow clone is almost as real as a real entity. Even ordinary genin may not be able to use this kind of ninjutsu. I'm not going to teach you anything. You can't even learn the clone technique, and you want to learn the shadow clone technique. Lu Yun knocked on her wooden head. Who said I don't know how to clone myself? I'm just not very skilled at it. I may fail once or twice out of 10 times. Kushina said stubbornly. In fact, her level is already very good among her peers, but Lu Yun believes that it is far from enough. First learn the throwing technique, then I will teach you the tree climbing training, and then I will teach you the shadow clone. Take it step by step, don't aim too high. Lu Yun spoke seriously. He did not hide anything and was planning to teach this girl some real skills. What do you mean by climbing a tree? Isn't it very simple to climb a tree? Do you need to be taught? Why don't you just teach me the shadow clone? Kushina tilted her head with a question mark on her face. Climbing a tree is not what you think it is. I've already told you not to aim too high. Are you still going to learn the throwing technique? The shadow clone knocked her wooden head again as a punishment. It hurts. Study, study, study. I didn't say you won't learn. Don't hit me on the head, or you'll become stupid. Kushina covered her head with her hands, looking resentful. Chapter 33. He coaxed and deceived the little girl and invited Kushina to eat pork trotter rice. 10 o'clock in the morning. The shadow clone that had been to the bookstore before dissipated on its own initiative, and a large amount of memories were instantly transmitted back to the original body. Lu Yun groaned and subconsciously closed his eyes, his brain quickly processing those complex memories. Huh? What's wrong with you? Kushina noticed that something was wrong with Lu Yun and took the initiative to step forward and ask about his concern. Nothing. Lu Yun opened his eyes again. His shadow clone had reached an agreement with the bookstore owner Wu Shanming, so he might be able to make money soon. It's getting late, so that's all for the morning. Lu Yun planned to go home and cook. His mother Asuka wanted to eat his cooking again, so he nodded and agreed to this small request. Ah, it's still early. Are you going home so soon? Kushina was a little dissatisfied. Happy times are always short-lived. Go home and cook. Lu Yun gave an explanation casually. Cook? You can cook. Is that true? Kushina didn't quite believe it. A little bit. I have to go buy groceries now, and I have to bring food to my mother later, so I can't be too late. Buying groceries, cooking, delivering meals. You are really not kidding. Kushina still looked skeptical at this moment. In the ninja world, there are not many men who can cook, even fewer children who can cook, and no boys who can cook. She thinks Lu Yun might be lying. Lu Yun suddenly smiled evilly. Do you want to come home with me? I'll cook for you. Go home with you and cook for me. Kushina murmured subconsciously, and her face instantly turned red like a big tomato. I'm home alone at noon. Lu Yun leaned close to her ear and whispered, his tone filled with unspeakable ambiguity. Kushina's already rosy face turned even redder in an instant, her heart was pounding, and beads of sweat appeared on her forehead unconsciously. Don't you want to know if I can cook? Don't you want to try my cooking? We can practice together after dinner. Don't you want to become stronger? Lu Yun continued to seduce her in her ears. His gentle tone and warm breath stimulated her nerves all the time. Me. Lu Yun successfully aroused her strong curiosity. She really wanted to agree, but due to her girlish modesty and shame, she never dared to nod in agreement. Come on. Lu Yun suddenly hugged her white jade arms and shook her gently. The posture was exactly the same as when she was acting coquettishly and cute yesterday. Kushina stared at him blankly with her mouth open. After a while, I don't know why I nodded. Haha. Let's go, come home with me. Lu Yun said as he took her hand. At this moment, he was like some scumbag who lured little girls home, coaxing and deceiving them step by step, and finally. Wait. No, Grandma Mito won't be able to wait for me to come home for dinner, she will be worried. Kushina quickly pulled herself out of his grasp. Isn't this simple? It's still early now, and your grandma probably hasn't started cooking yet. Can't you just go back and tell her? It's just a lunch together. It's nothing. Don't we often sit together and eat lunch at school? Lu Yun spread his hands and revealed an evil smile. Kushina suddenly felt that what Lu Yun said made sense. It's just lunch, isn't it? It's in broad daylight, what's there to be embarrassed about? What's wrong with that? Well, I'll go home and ask Grandma Mito. Kushina lowered her head, fiddling with the corners of her clothes with her hands that had nowhere to put. Yeah, that's settled. I'll go buy the ingredients first. Soon, the two split up. Kushina returned to the Senju clan's territory, and Lu Yun went to the market. Damn it, seafood is so cheap, but pork is ridiculously expensive. Lu Yun was holding a pig's trotter with a look of pain on his face. He had spent 2/3 of the money Asuka gave him for groceries. Green vegetables are so expensive. Lu Yun muttered and gave up the idea of buying vegetables. Fortunately, when he was jogging in the morning and passed by the wilderness, he caught a few free wild loofahs. The kids don't like to eat this thing, but he likes it very much and knows how to make it delicious. Why are there no marinated ingredients for sale? I've seen Naruto eat marinated ramen before, and Kushina also seems to like this flavor of ramen. Lu Yun walked into a grocery store, but couldn't buy the spices and seasonings he wanted, but there was soy sauce. He had already bought the ingredients, so there was no way he could change the dishes. He had no choice but to go to a few more grocery stores. Finally, he bought what he wanted at the third grocery store. After preparing the ingredients, he rushed back home in a hurry. As time was running short, he directly used his shadow clone to help him. Fire style. Fireball jutsu. A small fireball blew out of his mouth, and the hair on the pig's foot was instantly burned off. Soon, he prepared the lunch, and Kushina arrived at Lu Yun's door near noon. Lu Yun, I'm here. Kushina blushed and spoke softly while standing in front of the door. Her voice was not loud, but Lu Yun in the house heard it. I'm here, come in. Oh. Kushina walked in with her head lowered. As soon as she entered the door, she saw Lu Yun in a shadow clone. I've prepared the food, go wash your hands first, and then you can eat. It is good. Lu Yun took out a lunch box, packed part of the freshly prepared meal, and then handed it to his shadow clone. Send it to Mom quickly, or it won't taste good if it gets cold. Do not worry. The shadow clone took the food box and turned to leave. Kushina, who was standing by, was amazed by this scene. Shadow clones can be used like this. Isn't this too convenient? Of course you can, provided you can withstand the shock of memory. Lu Yun explained casually, not caring whether Kushina could understand or not. What a delicious braised meat. Smelling the rich meaty aroma and looking at the temptingly soft and tender meat slices in the dish, Kushina's eyes suddenly lit up. She didn't expect that Lu Yun was not lying and really knew how to cook. And how come every grain of rice is so crystal clear? Try it. Lu Yun handed her the chopsticks. Okay, I'm starting. Kushina took the chopsticks and did a little ritual before eating. How can meat be cooked like this? And there is also crystal-like gelatinous mucus. What kind of meat is this? Kushina's face was full of surprise. Seeing that Luyun smiled but did not answer, she immediately put the soft piece of meat into her mouth. The moment the meat slices enter your mouth, a rich meaty aroma bursts in your mouth. It's soft and tasty, fatty but not greasy, and most importantly, it has an explosive and rich meaty aroma. Is this pork? Kushina's eyes lit up. It was the first time she had tasted such delicious braised meat. To be precise, this is a pig's foot. Luyun smiled happily. This is a braised pork trotter rice from China. Ah, pig's feet. Where are the trotters and bones? Kushina stared with wide eyes and a look of surprise. It's in the rice cooker. I didn't take it out. Luyun pointed to the rice pot not far away, which contained not rice but pig's trotters. Ah. You're using a rice cooker to stew the pig's feet. Then this rice. Kushina said as she picked up a ball of crystal clear rice and put it into her mouth. The rice is so chewy and fragrant, much better than rice balls. How did you cook it? Kushina's face was full of shock. Why was Luyun's rice so different from others? This is not boiled, but steamed. Chapter 34. Melons can not only be eaten, but also used for bathing. The feeling of being cared for. What? Steamed rice. Can rice be steamed? Kushina doesn't know how to cook yet, so she seems a little ignorant at the moment. Yes, but it requires some skills. Luyun explained to her patiently. Such fragrant rice, such fragrant meat, these two together, I feel like I don't need to eat anything else. Kushina was very satisfied with the pork trotter rice and her mouth was bulging with food. Try this dish. Luyun smiled and pointed at the green vegetables on the plate. It is good. Kushina swallowed a mouthful of rice, took a sip of the cool juice, and nodded and smiled. This looks like a kind of melon. Stir-fried melon with shrimp. Pick up a piece of fried melon, the thick soup will whet your appetite. So tender and sweet. Although it was a savory dish, Kushina found it unusually sweet. The stir-fried squash is already very sweet and fresh, and it becomes even sweeter after absorbing the flavor of shrimp. What kind of melon is this? Kushina picked up several slices in a row. She felt that this thing was more delicious than braised pork trotters. Ha ha. Luyun couldn't help but laugh out loud. What are you laughing at? Kushina looked confused. What do you use to scrub your body? Why are you asking? Kushina was a little embarrassed. Don't you want to know what kind of melon this is? Then tell me what you use to scrub your body. As Luyun spoke, he scooped up a spoonful of fried melon soup and poured it over the rice. Is there any connection? I used loofah. Ah. You said this is loofah. Kushina's eyes almost popped out. Well, to be precise, it's a loofah with horns. How did you do it like this? Why is there no grass smell at all? The taste of loofah is very fishy. Kushina has eaten it before, but she regretted it the first time she ate it. How come Luyun's plate of fried loofah doesn't have any grass smell? And it's so fresh and delicious, super delicious. Is it because of the shrimp? Kushina asked proactively. No, the shrimp just adds flavor. First blanch it in boiling water to remove the fishy smell, then stir-fry it. The fire must be strong enough. Luyun said the key points. High heat can transform the fishy smell into a sweet taste. Kushina was confused by what she heard, but she subconsciously felt that Luyun was very powerful. Know almost everything. You are really cool. She couldn't help but praise. This coolness is not just about appearance, but also includes many other aspects. There was a gleam in Kushina's eyes. She felt that Luyun was simply the legendary treasure boy. Luyun hummed with a hint of satisfaction. Just as the two were eating with gusto, Luyun suddenly turned his head and looked out the window. It was empty there was nothing. Who is it? Luyun could sense a vague sense of being watched. If his feeling was correct, then there should have been someone outside the window just now. He didn't chase after him, because it would be pointless to chase after him if there was no one around, but if there was someone around. It is impossible for an ordinary person to react so quickly. If there was someone outside just now, it must be a ninja. Under the window, Tsunade was half crouching on the ground, her extremely pretty face full of horror. He found me. What a coincidence. As an elite Jonin, how could his hidden aura be discovered by an elementary school student who hasn't even graduated yet? It's incredible to think about it. Grandma Uzumaki Mito saw that Kushina was acting strangely and was a little worried. She was afraid that something might happen to her, so she asked Tsunade to come over and check. Tsunade didn't expect that this little girl, Kushina, was so brave that she even dared to go to a little boy's house for dinner. She was enjoying watching from outside, but the little brat suddenly did this to her, which really scared her. My little heart is still pounding now. Tsunade let out a breath after moving away from the window. She no longer had the idea of continuing to peek at others. As long as Kushina was okay, it was fine. At the same time, she also thought about finding someone to investigate the origins of this little brat when she returned. Kushina has already been tricked into coming here. If she gets tricked a few more times, what will happen? Wait. I'm full. Don't give me more food. Kushina waved her hands repeatedly. She had already eaten 2 large bowls of white rice. If she ate any more, she would be unladylike. How can you eat so much when you first go to someone's house? Even if the food is delicious, you can't eat too much. What if I scare people? What if you think she is a big glutton? What if I don't cook for her in the future, or I feel I can't afford to support her? Eat it. This is the last bowl. If you don't eat it, it will be thrown away. You don't want my hard work to go to waste, do you? I'm responsible for the effort, and you'll be responsible for the stomach. Luyun said this as he filled the empty bowl with rice. She ate from the bowl cleaner than a dog licked it, so Luyun would never believe that she was full. Most people in the ninja world are big eaters, especially those children with special physiques. Ah, well, okay then. I'll have one last bowl then. Luyun handed the high bulge of rice to her, and then filled the large cup in front of Kushina with sweet and sour juice. Kushina saw this scene and for a moment she felt that brother Luyun was so thoughtful. She couldn't help but have some embarrassing thoughts in her mind. Would you like to eat pig's trotters? They are very chewy. Luyun took out half a pig's trotter from the rice pot and tempted Kushina while chewing it. Seeing Luyun ignoring table etiquette and starting to eat directly, and chewing it with a delicious crunch, she inexplicably relaxed for a moment. Then, a little bit. Kushina spoke quietly. The next moment, Luyun brought most of the pig's trotter in the pot to her. Just take it and chew it. There's no need to be shy in my house. I'm not shy. Kushina muttered softly, and also imitated Luyun and chewed it with relish. After 3 bowls of white rice, 2 cups of juice, and all the food, Kushina touched her round belly with satisfaction, saying that she really couldn't eat any more. I'll cook more dishes for you next time. Luyun said seriously. In southern China, when you host a dinner party, it is considered rude if the guests eat all the food. He actually didn't expect Kushina to eat so much. She eats more than he does. The rice was adequate, but the dishes seemed a little lacking. In fact, Kushina was very satisfied with the meal and was very full, but Luyun still retained some of his previous ideas about hospitality and thought that he had not done well enough. Kushina couldn't hear the implicit meaning of the words, but her eyes were almost invisible due to her laughter. In her opinion, it is a great happiness to be cared for by brother Luyun. She felt very good at Luyun's house. Apart from the initial nervousness, she felt very comfortable once she relaxed. It was much more comfortable than when she was in the Qianshu clan. Chapter 35. The Hand One Tribe Never Disappeared, Future Trouble. After they finished lunch, they sat in the living room, drinking tea and chatting idly. Kushina, where did the rest of the Senju clan go? Why are you the only ones living in the Senju clan land? Luyun took the initiative to ask this question. Kushina lives in the Senju clan's territory, so she should know the reason to some extent. Where did you go? You didn't go anywhere. Aren't you still in Konoha village? Kushina tilted her head, not quite understanding what Luyun said, but after a moment she realized why Luyun asked that. You want to talk about why they are hiding their real names? Luyun was a little surprised when he heard this, but he nodded quickly. I heard about this from Grandma Mito. Legend has it that the Senju clan originated in the era of the Six Paths Sage. The original origin of this surname does not refer to the descendants of a single person. The Senju clan is not the Senju of one person, but the union of a group of people. A group of 1,000 hands. Luyun murmured. In the original work, Ashura, the second son of the Six Paths Sage, eventually became the successor of the ninja clan. He was always surrounded by a group of followers. Perhaps the Senju clan was born from that time. After explaining the origin of the Senju, Kushina then went on to explain the specific reason for hiding her real name. It is said that when Konoha was founded, because the Senju clan was the largest, many privileged classes emerged from the clan. They believed that Konoha was founded by the Senju clan, and that the Senju clan should have absolute leadership among all clans, and that the Senju clan should be superior to others. The Senju clan was too powerful back then, and the weight of this surname was too important, so important that no family dared to offend them. From that time on, the villagers of Konoha began to change their respect for the Senju clan from to fear. Senju Hashirama believed that when the power of a small group reaches a certain level, it will affect or even destroy the stability of Konoha, and the more united the Senju clan is, the greater this possibility will be. Even Senju Tobarama cannot deny this. They became increasingly arrogant, and they put all the clans of Konoha under great pressure. Later, the first Hokage did not want his clan to be superior to Konoha, so he took the initiative to erase the family name and disbanded all the clans despite everyone's opposition. Except for the second Hokage who resisted most fiercely, who retained his surname, no one else's surname is allowed to be retained, including the descendants of the first Hokage. They are no longer allowed to retain the Senju surname. Hashirama Senju was afraid that Konoha, which he had built with great difficulty, would eventually fall apart, so he made up his mind and dismissed everyone on the spot, and the Senju clan split up from then on. The original territory of the Senju clan covered an extremely vast area, and the properties were countless. However, after the split, all these things were divided among the clan members. Now, the so-called clan territory is actually only 2 manors left. One belongs to Hashirama Senju, and currently Uzumaki Mito and Uzumaki Kushina live there. The other belongs to the second Hokage Tobarama Senju, and currently Tsunade and her brother live there. In fact, the Senju clan has always been there. It used to be the Senju clan, but now it's Konoha, which was said by the first Hokage. It is precisely because of this sentence that the anonymity in the branch family can be accepted by other clansmen. When Kushina said this, Luyun's eyes widened. It used to be the Senju of one group of people, and now it's Konoha of one group of people. As a time traveler who is familiar with the subsequent plot of the original work, Luyun couldn't help but sigh that Hashirama Senju has a broad mind and a long-term vision. The Senju clan was integrated into Konoha. Although they lost their surname and certain privileges, they actually preserved everyone's identity. The Uchiha clan, which was barely able to compete with the Senju clan, became the object of fear by others instead of the Senju clan. The false title of the largest clan in Konoha has caused the Uchiha clan to suffer ever since. The Uchiha clan was still complacent. They thought that their old rival, the Senju clan, had fallen, but they didn't know that their clan had become the new object of fear among the villagers, and would soon become the target of public criticism, hated and ostracized by everyone in Konoha. If you fail to see the essence, the ultimate result will be destruction. If the Senju clan had not retreated, they would have been the ones to die. If the Uchiha clan had not retreated, no one would have tolerated them, and their extermination would have become inevitable. And the more united they are, the faster they will die. Does the Uchiha clan really want to rebel? Does Uchiha Fugaku really want to rebel? No, they had to resist because they had no way out. It is not a good thing for a family to be too prosperous. The cake of Konoha is so big. If you take one more bite, others will have one less bite. Over time, it will form a confrontation. If there is no far-sighted and capable person to resolve these conflicts, it is inevitable that the two sides will become enemies. In the 5 major ninja villages in the ninja world, I have only heard of ninja families being destroyed because they influenced the villages, but I have never heard of any family completing a coup and replacing the village. The family model of the Warring States period has been replaced by the village. Ninja families who do not know how to adapt and cannot see the trend of the times will eventually decline and perish. No wonder Tsunade and her brother have never really revealed their last names in the entire 700+ episodes of Naruto anime, Luyun thought secretly. Mito. Grandma, how is your health now? After getting a general understanding of the Senju clan, Luyun asked the second question. Grandma Mito. She's fine. Kushina was a little surprised and didn't understand why Ryun asked about Uzumaki Mito. Yeah, she's in very good health. Kushina said with a smile. Luyun nodded upon hearing this. The main reason why he cared about Uzumaki Mito was the 9-tailed fox. Of course, the more important reason is Kushina as the container of the 9 tails. Becoming a Jinchuriki is a very unfortunate thing. Ryun really hopes that Uzumaki Mito can live longer, preferably another 10 or 20 years. In this way, he will have enough time to grow and finally rewrite Kushina's life. As long as she doesn't want to become a Jinchuriki, Luyun will not allow anyone to force her. Although he is still very weak now, he firmly believes that as long as he works hard, with his knowledge of the Hokage, he will definitely be able to gain enough power before Kushina becomes the 9 tails Jinchuriki. Not to mention being able to stop Konoha, but he was confident that he could take Kushina away from Konoha. Unconsciously, he has regarded this little girl as his forbidden delicacy, and the importance of Kushina in Luyun's heart has also increased as their relationship has grown. They seem to be just classmates now, but their relationship has already quietly deteriorated. The two of them already have each other in their hearts, and the fact that they spend every day together proves that their relationship is special. Although it's not as exaggerated as, one day without seeing you feels like 3 years, I am subconsciously willing to stay with the other person. Unless Luyun has no more interactions with Kushina, or wants to change his training target, otherwise he has to overcome the hurdle of becoming the 9 tails Jinchuriki. It is obviously impossible to ask him to give up this little cutie in front of him. Chapter 36. Fighting against Kushina, a pervert who only likes to spank little butts. In the afternoon, Luyun took Kushina to the small river where they had practiced before. His treading water training still needed to be improved, so the shadow clone stayed on the shore and continued to instruct Kushina in throwing techniques. Wow! You can actually walk on the river. How did you do that? Looking at the real body on the water, Kushina couldn't help but ask. Didn't I tell you about climbing a tree before? Treading water is an advanced version of climbing a tree. You need to learn to climb a tree before you can learn to tread water. The shadow clone said as he showed her what climbing a tree was. The figure standing upside down on the tree trunk made Kushina's jaw drop. I want to learn, I want to learn. Please teach me how to climb a tree. Kushina's face was full of excitement. Take it step by step. First learn the throwing technique. At least you have to hit the target every time. Then I will teach you how to climb a tree. The shadow clone glared at her fiercely. After practicing for half an afternoon, Kushina suddenly dropped her kunai and suggested. Luyun, let's have a fight, shall we? I want to see how big the gap is between us. She felt that she might not be a match for Luyun, but she couldn't help but want to give it a try. Are you itchy? Luyun was stunned for a moment before asking seriously. HMPH. Who's itching for a fight? Are you sure you'll win? Kushina snorted coldly, her little face full of dissatisfaction. You can't even beat a worthless genin, and you still want to fight me. Luyun deliberately ridiculed her. In fact, even if he didn't take action that time, Kushina would still be able to defeat the opponent. The reason I said this was mainly to stimulate her and give her the motivation to practice and grow. It's always good to have a little more self-protection power. Tisk. I was just too careless that time and was fooled by the substitution technique. If we really fight, he will definitely not be my opponent. Oh my, which little cutie was crying at that time? Is it necessary to cry if you can beat him? Lu Yun was being mean as usual and started teasing her again. You shut up. Kushina's face flushed red, and she attacked angrily, punching the shadow clone. Lu Yun raised his arms to block, but was knocked back several steps by the furious Kushina. Tisk, you're really strong. Lu Yun shook his arms. In terms of physical fitness alone, Kushina is much stronger than Ryun. The 3 big bowls of white rice weren't eaten for nothing, they were more than what he ate. Seeing Kushina rushing towards him at high speed, the shadow clone quickly assumed a fighting stance. The two fought each other for more than 20 rounds, and the shadow clone soon exploded into smoke due to the continuous accumulation of small damage. Defeating a shadow clone was not worth Kushina's happiness. The next moment she threw out a shuriken and hit the real body of Lu Yun, who was watching the show above the river. I think you're really itchy. Lu Yun dodged the shuriken with a quick move, and looked at Kushina with a serious look in his eyes. Stop talking nonsense and come up to fight me. Kushina raised the corner of her mouth, hooked her finger and spoke arrogantly. Lu Yun was stunned for a moment, then he laughed grimly. Haha, since you want to dance, then let's do as you wish. He jumped directly from the river surface in front of Kushina. The next moment Kushina swooped down and kicked him hard. Lu Yun raised his arm to block it, then grabbed her ankle with his backhand. Kushina's body was extremely flexible, and she kicked out with her other foot while in midair. But before her other foot landed, Lu Yun instantly disrupted her rhythm, grabbed her ankle, and threw her out. Kushina, who was thrown away, spun a few times in the air and landed steadily. As soon as she landed, she bounced off and attacked Lu Yun again. You are unexpectedly capable. Lu Yun couldn't help but praise, and then turned his head to avoid the incoming punch. After fighting with her for several rounds, Lu Yun kicked out. Kushina blocked it with her arm, but was only knocked back 2 small steps. What's going on? This feeling of power, are you looking down on me? Kushina couldn't help but question, she felt that Lu Yun was deliberately letting her win. This is my true power, but I haven't attached the chakra to my feet, so it lacks a lot of power. Lu Yun told the truth and explained the specific reasons. Precise control of chakra is a training course above Genin, also known as climbing trees and walking on water. If you complete these 2 trainings, your strength will naturally increase rapidly. I see. I was wondering why your physical skills were so strong even though your body was so weak. It turns out it's all because of your precise control of chakra. As soon as Kushina said this, Lu Yun's face immediately darkened. Who are you calling weak? I'll criticize whoever is weak. Kushina stuck out her tongue provocatively. You're asking for a beating. Even if I don't actively attach chakra, I can still deal with you. Lu Yun said as he took the initiative to attack her. The speed at which his body exploded surprised Kushina. She did not dare to be careless for a moment and hurriedly took action to meet the enemy. With his excellent visual insight and sharp physical reactions, Lu Yun was always able to suppress Kushina steadily. It was difficult for Kushina to hit him, but instead she was punched several times and kicked on the butt several times, which made her so angry that she gritted her teeth. The two fought for dozens of rounds. I have to say that Kushina is really strong and has an unusually strong stamina. I didn't feel tired after fighting for half a day, and it seemed that I was getting braver and braver as I fought. Lu Yun's physical strength was running out, and in order to avoid being defeated, he no longer thought about holding back. The Uzumaki clan has abnormal physiques, and their recovery ability is many times stronger than that of ordinary people. It is not so easy for Kushina to be beaten, and Lu Yun always just focuses on one place and beats hard. Ah! I won't fight anymore. You pervert. After being slapped hard on the butt, Kushina couldn't help but scream, and the pain made her tears almost fall. At this moment, she was seen holding her buttocks tightly with her hands, and her big tearful eyes were filled with rage. Hee. I didn't want to fight with you in the first place, but you got itchy and wanted to be beaten. Lu Yun laughed and breathed slightly. You bastard. Kushina's face turned red with anger, and the next moment she turned around and ran away. She was really angry and didn't want to play with this scoundrel anymore. Hey, where are you going? You still need to continue practicing throwing skills. Lu Yun said hurriedly from behind. No more practice. Kushina called out without even turning back. Ha ha. Lu Yun looked at her back, shook his head and laughed, and had no intention of chasing her. It's getting late anyway. Chapter 37. Taking advantage of the -039, weakness -039, of elementary school students, the early PR. Go to school the next day. Kushina, whose little butt was slightly swollen from being spanked, started to throw a tantrum. Lu Yun tried to coax her for a long time but failed to calm her down. It was not until she saw a bald figure enter the classroom that Kushina couldn't help laughing and reluctantly forgave Lu Yun's mistake. Sato was previously bald due to a kunai, and he had no other way to fix his hairstyle except to shave his head completely. Kushina pointed at his big bald head and laughed at him, which made Sato cry several times. After this incident, the students in the class no longer dared to provoke Lu Yun, the little bastard. They might not be afraid of being beaten, let alone being scolded. However, if their hair was cut like Sato's, it would probably be more painful than killing them. After all, no one wants to be laughed at by others. What primary school students fear most is facing the pointing and criticizing of other classmates. It seems that these little bastards also have weaknesses. Looking at that group of honest and well-behaved primary school students, Lu Yun couldn't help but smile with satisfaction. Of course, it is impossible to make Sato stay quiet. At this moment, he has no weaknesses. Others dare not to mess with him, but Sato, he dares. Unless his hair volume grows back, there is no way he can be expected to stop. In the ideological education class, Lu Yun half closed his eyes, placed his hands on his legs, and immersed his mind in his abdomen, refining chakra as if no one was around. He wasn't in the mood to listen to any bullshit about sacrifice, he just wanted to get chakra. This idiot. Kushina was left alone by him, and she didn't even bring back the small paper ball she threw. A month passed in the blink of an eye. As soon as night fell that day, Wu Shanming took the initiative to visit Lu Yun. The first issue of the Dragon Ball comics first appeared in the Naruto world, and was well received in various comic book stores in Konoha village, with sales booming. Xiao Lu Yun, this is the dividend from the early profits of the comics, a total of 10 taels, imagine according to the value of R. Wu Shanming pushed a large stack of banknotes and a profit statement in front of Lu Yun. Asuka, who was sitting next to Lu Yun, was surprised when she saw so much money. She still hasn't figured out what's going on. Lu Yun scraped the banknotes with his hand, and his expression showed no joy or anger. In the eyes of his mother Asuka, her son now looks like a little adult. Don't complain about the small amount. Currently, the comics are only sold in Konoha village and the surrounding villages. The publisher has been printing them day and night. By then, the comics will be sold throughout the country and even other countries. The dividends will naturally be countless times more than this money. Wu Shanming continued with a smile. The popularity of Dragon Ball was not unexpected to him because the story itself was very interesting. As long as Lu Yun continues to create an update, it is only a matter of time before he makes a lot of money from this comic book. I see. Uncle Wu Shanming, thank you for making this trip. This is the follow-up to the plot that I recently compiled, and there are also portraits of important characters. Lu Yun took out a draft and several portraits from a long box. The character portraits of Son Goku, Master Roshi, Krillin and others in Dragon Ball were all created by him. It can be said that there are very few things that really require Wu Shanming to use his brain, and he is very happy to earn this money. Great. With your draft, we'll have a plan for the next comic. Wu Shanming was overjoyed. This draft was like a reassurance. He could continue to show his skills and write the sequel. After carefully reading the later plot, Wu Shanming was so happy that he couldn't stop smiling. The story of Dragon Ball is becoming more and more exciting. Although Luyun's writing skills are not good, he has roughly written out the outline and details. It should be no problem for him to draw the comics based on this. In some less important places, Wu Shanming will make minor adjustments in the comics. As long as the general settings are not a problem, Luyun will allow him to add some of his own small ideas. For example, female characters. 2 dots were vaguely visible, and there was a clump of grass or something. Young people in the ninja world all like to watch this kind of thing. At this moment, Jiraiya hasn't even written Intimate Paradise yet. After seeing Wu Shanming off, Luyun handed the 50,000 taels of cash to his mother Asuka. For me, Asuka stood there in a daze holding the banknotes. This amount of money is equivalent to her salary for several months. How did her son get so much money? Well, mom doesn't have to work so hard anymore. I can support you, Luyun said with a smile. Ah, son, how did you get so much money? Asuka's face was full of shock. Luyun told the whole story. Oh my god. You can actually write novels. And you took the initiative to talk to Wu Shanming about cooperation and create comics together. Asuka is increasingly unable to understand this son. My son is simply a child prodigy. Why did it become like this? It seems that my brain has become different since I took off the headband. Could it be that I covered my head before, which affected the release of my wisdom? Asuka couldn't figure out the reason, so she started to wonder again. She happily accepted the money, and took a newly released Dragon Ball comic book from Luyun on her own initiative, and then happily read the comic. Originally Luyun didn't want to give her the comic book, because it contained the little color added by Wu Shanming. But if he didn't give it to her, this woman would definitely go to the bookstore to find Wu Shanming to buy it. In desperation, he could only give a reminder first, put all the blame on Akira Karasama, and showed Asuka the original story, thus clearing himself of the suspicion of being a pervert and a lecher. Son, I'm telling you, you can cooperate with Wu Shanming, but you must not be led astray by him. That guy's head is full of dirty water, and a good story has been turned into a pornographic comic. Asuka angrily admonished while holding a comic book. Did you hear that? Seeing her son remain silent, Asuka hit him on the head with a comic book. Ah, I know. Luyun held his head and quickly agreed. In the future, you should read less comic books like this. They are not good for the physical and mental health of young people. Yeah, I'll listen to my mother. Luyun looked well behaved, and Asuka smiled with relief seeing this. The next day after getting the money, Luyun went to the ninja tool shop and bought a lot of training items, such as ninja swords, kunai, shurikens, sandbags, wooden men and wooden stakes. He spends money like water, but he doesn't feel bad about it, because money doesn't mean much to him anymore, power is what he pursues. Taking out an expensive chakra test paper from his pocket, Luyun injected his own chakra into the paper. He wanted to look at the attributes of his chakra to determine the direction of his next ninjutsu training. Chapter 38. Bird Development, 3 Ninjas 2 and #039, S attention. As Luyun injected chakra into the test paper first became wrinkled and then instantly burned to ashes. Lightning and fire attributes. Not bad. Luyun showed a satisfied smile. Almost everyone in the Uchiha clan has the fire attribute. In addition, there are also some with dual attributes, and most of them have both thunder and fire attributes, with very few exceptions. Luyun has dual attributes, and his initial qualifications are pretty good. Next, he will major in these 2 types of ninjutsu. As for fire jutsu, Great Fireball Jutsu and Phoenix Fire Jutsu are 1 medium-range ninjutsu and 1 long-range group attack ninjutsu. The 2 fire jutsu are barely enough at the moment. What he lacked at the moment was a close combat ninjutsu that had to be powerful enough, so, lightning release Chidori became his first choice. As for defense, as the saying goes, the best defense is offense, so he doesn't need it for now. It is not so easy to figure out, lightning release Chidori, out of thin air. After all, it is an A-level ninjutsu after all. If he knew the complete sequence of the ninjutsu, he should be able to learn it quickly with the help of the shadow clones, but at this time, the creator of Chidori, Hitaki Kakashi, had not yet been born. If you want to figure out a conceptual ninjutsu by yourself, it will inevitably take a lot of energy and time. I can only ask the shadow clone to go to school temporarily, and wait until the real body creates the Chidori, before returning to school. Thinking of this, Luyun immediately summoned a shadow clone and began studying ninjutsu. Although he didn't know how Chidori performed the initial stage, Luyun thought that the electric current should appear in the palm of his hand first. One main body and 3 shadow clones tried to hold it in for most of the day, but apart from the main body being unable to hold it in and letting out a loud fart, they couldn't even hold out an electric current. It seems that the only way to guide the chakra into electricity is through hand seals. Luyun originally wondered if he could give up on making hand seals at the very beginning and use his own strong mental will to guide the chakra to complete the transformation. Now it seems that he really overestimated himself. Using hand seals to guide chakra transformation is a method taught in ninja schools. For example, Luyun knows how to make hand seals to transform chakra into fire escape and spit it out from his mouth. His basic knowledge of magic was pretty good, so he now knew what seals to make in order to convert chakra into electricity. He used 6 seals just to generate the current from his palms. Keep this feeling in mind first, and then try to simplify it step by step later. Chidori seems to have only 3 seals, but at this moment, even if Luyun knew these 3 seals, it would be of no use. Because the 3 hand seals are simplified hand seals after one has fully mastered this technique. It is impossible to use the 3 hand seals to perform Chidori before mastering the ninjutsu. As the days passed, after Luyun completed his daily physical exercise task, he spent most of the rest of his time practicing thunder release and Chidori. Half a month later, because his hands were wrapped in electric current for a long time, his palms suffered some damage. Luyun was afraid of leaving some hidden dangers or injuries, so he was forced to suspend Chidori's research and development tasks. Moreover, the end of the semester in the ninja school is approaching, and the long summer vacation is about to begin. 2 days later, Luyun went to the ninja school to take the final exam. There will be a series of tests today. When he returns to school after today, he will be a glorious 6th grade college student. On this day, the 3rd Hokage put aside his busy work and personally sat in the ninja school to supervise the assessment work of teachers at all levels. Because he is the principal of the ninja school, he can be absent on weekdays, but he has to show up for final exams and the opening ceremony for freshmen. The 3rd Hokage brought his 3 direct disciples here today. At this moment, they were sitting in the principal's office, gathered in front of a crystal ball, watching the graduation examination of the 6th grade students. Students will generally be assessed on one of the 3 ninjutsu techniques when they graduate. As long as their talent in ninjutsu is not too poor, it is generally easy to graduate from a ninja school. Orochimaru, where are you going? Jiraiya, who was looking at the crystal ball, asked Orochimaru when he suddenly stood up and left. I'm a bit bored, so I'm just wandering around. Orochimaru waved his hand without even turning his head. Shortly after Orochimaru left, Tsunade also stood up from her seat and walked out of the principal's office. Tsunade, you want to? None of your business. Before Jiraiya could finish his words, Tsunade cursed impatiently. Sarutobi Hiruzen and Master Jiraiya looked at each other, and the atmosphere seemed a little awkward. I'll go see what they want to do. Sarutobi Hiruzen glanced at his back and said nothing. Orochimaru strolled casually in the ninja school, but finally stopped at the window of Class 1, Grade 5. Those snake-like eyes carefully looked at Luyun, who was working seriously on the test paper. As if noticing his gaze, Luyun suddenly raised his head and looked towards the window, and their eyes met in an instant. Interesting Uchiha brat. Looking at that slightly surprised expression, Orochimaru showed a meaningful smile. What are you doing here? Tsunade suddenly walked up to Orochimaru. Nothing, just came to see an interesting little guy. Orochimaru smiled hoarsely, and both of them kept their voices low, not wanting to disturb the students who were doing their homework in the room. Interesting little one. You mean Kushina? Tsunade was a little surprised. She knew that 501 was Kushina's class. She came here at this moment to see Kushina and her little deskmate. When she looked over, Kushina and Luyun seemed unaware of her arrival and were still doing their own homework. No, Orochimaru answered in the negative. No. Then you are. Tsunade was surprised for a moment, then seemed to have thought of something and said a name uncertainly. Uchiha. Ryun. Huh. You know him too. Now it was Orochimaru's turn to be surprised. Hey. What are you two doing here? Just when the two were about to have a deeper conversation, Jiraiya's arrival instantly made them frown and remain silent. His voice was a little loud, and even startled some students in the classroom. Teacher Oda came out to take a look and made a hushing gesture. Tsunade's face turned pale. She grabbed Jiraiya by the collar and dragged him away. You idiot, don't you know you can't influence the candidates? 30 minutes later, the final written exam was over and all the candidates from class 501 came to a corner of the playground. The final exam still includes the assessment of throwing techniques, which is even more important than the 3 ninja techniques. Regardless of whether it is the 5th or 6th grade, instructors at all levels will focus on the art of hidden weapon throwing. People who can't even throw a kunai or shuriken properly will be a burden on the battlefield in the future, and will only waste expensive strategic materials. People like this don't even deserve to have Konoha's forehead protectors. You are not good at the 3 body techniques and have no talent for ninjutsu, but Konoha might still take a look at your strengths in other areas, refer to Dai, Kai, and Lee, and allow you to graduate and become a ninja. But if you can't even pass the throwing technique, then Konoha might not even give you a second glance. Chapter 39. Kushina is impressive. Is the reason for her hairy face due to the bloodline in her hand? In this throwing test, each person has 10 opportunities to throw hidden weapons, and the distance of the target is also increased from the original 20 meters to 30 meters. Since it was the last exam of the semester, all the candidates seemed a little nervous. After all, if the results were too bad, they might be expelled from the ninja school. The rules of the ninja school are very cruel, but the original work does not reveal it. The higher you go, the fewer students there are. In the class of the original protagonist Naruto Uzumaki, there is no poor student at all. Students who can reach the 6th grade generally have their own strengths, and most of them can graduate successfully. At that time, Naruto was the only exception because of the influence of the Nine Tails chakra. Don't be nervous. Brother has been teaching you the throwing technique for so long. You should be able to handle this test easily. Luyun saw Kushina standing beside him in silence, her body trembling slightly, and he couldn't help but find it a little funny. What are you talking about? How can I be nervous? I'm really excited now. It's finally my turn, and I'm going to get a perfect score today. Kushina clenched her fists with excitement on her face. Under Luyun's long-term and patient guidance, her throwing skills have now reached the point where she never misses. Today is the day to make everyone look at her with new eyes. Number 18, Uzumaki Kushina. Soon, the examiner called out Kushina's name. 5 kunai and 5 shurikens were thrown out from Kushina's hands one after another. As a series of target hits were heard, the elementary school students present couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. Oh my god! How did Stinky Tomato's throwing skills improve so quickly? He hit the bullseye with all 10 shots. Kushina hit all 10 shots, 9 of them hit the bullseye, and 1 shuriken was slightly off, total score minus 98 points. The examiner announced the score loudly. His words caused an uproar. No one expected Kushina to get this score, even Minato looked incredulous. Because hidden weapon throwing is not Kushina's strong point at all. Many people were puzzled as to why this guy's throwing skills had improved so much. Ha ha ha. You must be dumbfounded. Although she didn't get full marks, Kushina couldn't help but laugh triumphantly as she heard the surprised comments from her classmates. Especially Sato and other elementary school students, when they saw the smugness on Kushina's face, their expressions instantly became extremely ugly, as if they had swallowed a rat shit. Good job, Kushina. Suddenly, a woman's delicate voice was heard from the playground. Everyone looked at the sound and instantly saw the figure of the three lords. Tsunade, Orochimaru, and Jiraiya had been watching them the entire time. Ah! Sister Tsunade. Kushina was very surprised to meet Tsunade at school, but because she was in class, she couldn't go over to say hello, so she could only wave at her. Lu Yun knew that the three ninjas were watching him, and he felt a little stressed and nervous. He didn't know who they were targeting, but he always felt like he was being watched. Number 19, Uchiha Lu Yun. When his name was called, Lu Yun let out a breath and then picked up the hidden weapon in the wooden barrel. Lu Yun threw out 5 kunai in succession, and then held 2 shurikens in his left hand and 3 shurikens in his right hand, and threw out 5 at the same time. 10 hidden weapons, all of which were launched with a graceful movement, really surprised many primary school students. Uchiha Lu Yun, all 10 shots hit the target, 4 of them hit the bull's eye. Overall score -94 points. It was a very good result and some classmates gave applause. You guy. Kushina crossed her arms across her chest with a look of dissatisfaction on her face. Lu Yun has already mastered the art of throwing in private, but he has to hide his incompetence in a serious occasion. Actually, it can't be said that he completely concealed his incompetence, he just performed a little better than ordinary people. Anyway, he was neither good nor bad, which made Kushina very uncomfortable. Ha ha. Orochimaru, who was originally watching the show, suddenly chuckled. What are you laughing at? Tsunade asked curiously, and Jiraiya immediately looked over. The performance of this Uchiha member was actually very average, and his abilities were not much different from those of other Uchiha children. It is normal for the Uchiha clan to be good at throwing techniques. This kid is hiding his abilities. Hiding your weaknesses. Impossible. You've already scored 94 points, is there any need to hide your weaknesses? There is not much difference between 94 points and 100 points. Why not take the full score? Besides, how could a child have so many thoughts? Jiraiya felt that Orochimaru was overthinking. I saw it with my own eyes before. He defeated 7 Uchiha brats of the same age by himself. Orochimaru revealed this message directly. The two men's faces changed instantly when they heard this. Is this true? Jiraiya's face was full of surprise. Although the Uchiha clan does not have a good reputation in Konoha, its strength is indeed top-notch. Even in the ninja school, the children of this family are much stronger than those of other families. The seemingly skinny and frail Uchiha in front of him actually has the strength to fight 7 people at the same time, and all those he defeated were from the same clan. So what is his real strength? If Orochimaru was not lying, then this brat was most likely hiding his abilities. Because in the ninja school, the strongest Uchiha is the hidden weapon throwing technique. If this kid has that kind of strength, he shouldn't have only got 94 points. I see, that day was not an illusion. Tsunade murmured subconsciously. What are you talking about? Orochimaru asked with a frown. Nothing, I also think that guy is hiding his abilities. Kushina has been following him recently. The reason why her throwing skills have improved so much is probably because of his guidance. Tsunade told what she knew. Even Kushina, who is not good at throwing, can get 98 points. Could Uchiha Ryun, who often stays with her, be worse than her? Have you investigated him? Orochimaru asked again. Well, his father, Uchiha Mamoru, was a chunin who died heroically 2 years ago. His mother, Asuka, was an ordinary person. But speaking of it, his mother is somewhat related to our Senju clan. Tsunade had investigated his background thoroughly, and there were some things that even Lu Yun himself didn't know. Does he still have a small part of Senju blood? No wonder his hair color is different from that of ordinary people. Even the blood of the Uchiha clan couldn't completely dye his hair black. Orochimaru couldn't help but laugh and tease. A man from the Uchiha clan would actually find a Senju woman to start a family. This kind of thing could only happen after the Senju clan separated and became anonymous. From this point of view, Tsunade can also understand why the Ryayun family took the initiative to move out of the Uchiha clan's territory, because being excluded was inevitable. Why are you investigating people for no reason? Jiraiya was now very curious as to why these two were interested in the same Uchiha brat. It's none of your business. A grown man acting like a nosy person all day long. Tsunade glared at him fiercely. Hey, hey, hey. Don't target me like this. You're not nosy when Orochimaru asks you, but you become nosy when I ask you. Jiraiya acted as if he was hurt, but Tsunade obviously didn't buy it. I won't tell you. What's the matter? Chapter 40. Find a time to assassinate Sato. Ian Hasho 39. Very angry now. Next one, Minato Namikaze. As a very popular genius boy in the class, Minato caused quite a cheer as soon as he appeared. And he lived up to everyone's expectations. All 10 hidden weapons hit the target and he achieved a perfect score. Other people's 10 hidden weapons were shot in 10 times, but he only shot all 10 hidden weapons in 4 times, and all of them hit the bullseye accurately. His throwing movements were fast, graceful, clean, neat and extremely handsome. This move charmed many girls in the class, and even many boys couldn't help but applaud, including Luyun at the moment. That boy is quite outstanding. Does either of you know his name? Jiraiya became interested instantly when he saw Minato. Namikaze Minato, a rare little genius, is a prominent figure who has always been at the top of the grade list. He seems to have good relationships with people. Orochimaru gave his evaluation. Namikaze Minato. Jiraiya remembered the name. Minato has been handsome since he was a child. Luyun couldn't help but sigh that Minato Namikaze's abilities and charm were indeed outstanding. If he didn't secretly play the game of involution, he might really be surpassed by his opponents. What's so great about that? Luyun can also perform collision-style kunai combos. Kushina muttered quietly, dissatisfaction written all over her face. She scored 98 points, but few people applauded and cheered for her. Luyun scored 94 points, but few people applauded and cheered for him. When it was Minato's turn, before he even pitched, a large group of people cheered and shouted for him. She didn't deny that Minato was extremely popular, but she always believed that Ryun was better than him. It's just that this, old six, is too despicable, and he won't give his all in anything he does in front of outsiders. Besides talking nonsense. Look at Minato, and then look at you now. You used to be quite popular, why are you becoming less and less popular? Kushina glared at Luyun with disappointment. Luyun didn't expect that he would be shot even while lying down. The next moment, he held the back of his head with both hands and gave the reason. We are now the famous, black and red devils in the school. They all say that I am your younger brother. That bastard Sato even told everyone that I was your son. No one wants to play with me anymore. Can you blame me for this lack of popularity? Hearing Luyun say this, Kushina's face instantly flushed. She felt really embarrassed. The point is, doesn't this guy feel embarrassed when he says this? He is so shameless. When Kushina looked up and saw Luyun's indifferent attitude, she immediately couldn't help but get angry. Are you just going to let him talk nonsense? Are you afraid to beat him up? Beat him. Don't you know whether it's useful or not? Luyun looked helpless. Kushina was speechless for a moment. Wait until later, and see if I can find an opportunity to kill him. As Luyun spoke, he made a gesture of slashing with a knife. Seeing Luyun's serious attitude, Kushina was instantly frightened. She quickly grabbed Luyun's arm and told him not to be impulsive. No, anyone who insults me will be killed no matter how long it takes. Luyun spoke in a deep voice with a stern face. Seeing that Luyun even shouted the slogan of, no matter how long it takes, we must punish him, he must have been really angry. Kushina was frightened for a moment and hurriedly spoke to comfort him. Not really, that bastard is abominable, but his crime doesn't deserve the death penalty. Calm down, don't do anything stupid, and don't bother with him. Kushina held onto Luyun's arm and forced a smile, her heart pounding with fear. She was really afraid that Luyun would go and assassinate Sato during the summer vacation. If this really happened, it would be very bad. Don't bother with him. It's too late. Luyun snorted coldly, his eyes fixed on Sato in the crowd. I'm very angry right now. Sato suddenly felt an inexplicable chill coming over him, and couldn't help but shiver. Ah, you, calm down. Kushina hurriedly held his cheeks with both hands, preventing Luyun from continuing to look at Sato, lest he really lose control. How about I help you beat him up? Just to vent your anger, but you can't really do anything stupid. Are you concerned about me? Feeling the warmth in Kushina's palm, Luyun suddenly changed the subject and played an ambiguous look with his sincere eyes. Upon hearing this, Kushina's face instantly turned from white to red. Hey, what are they doing? Jiraiya seemed to have seen something interesting and exclaimed excitedly. Holding my cheeks and blushing shyly, is it possible that we are going to kiss each other next moment? Shut up. Before Jiraiya could finish his words, he was punched away by Tsunade. At this moment, her face looked a little ugly. Kushina was her sister, so she couldn't just ignore things like premature love. After dealing with Jiraiya, Tsunade was furious and wanted to go find trouble with Ryun, but the next moment her arm was grabbed by Orochimaru. Don't disturb the children's exams. Things may not be what that idiot Jiraiya thinks. Sure enough, as his voice fell, the ambiguous feeling from Kushina's side did disappear. Because someone looked at the rosy, round face so close to him and couldn't contain himself, so he suddenly burst out laughing. Kushina found out that she had been deceived again. She was so furious that she beat Luyun regardless of the occasion and made him run away in panic. After the last outdoor class ended, all the students returned to the classroom. Teacher Oda had already graded the test papers while they were having the outdoor class, and each student also received a final summary evaluation. Ryun and Kushina are both top students, while Minato is one of the rare outstanding students. After assigning summer homework, Oda also said his final goodbyes to all the students. After he left, some of the students couldn't wait to run out of the school, while others stayed in the classroom and said goodbye to their classmates. Luyun, Kushina, see you next semester. Before Minato was about to go home with his school bag on his back, he came over and said hello. Yeah, see you next semester. Luyun smiled and stretched out his hand to him. Minato smiled slightly and also stretched out his hand to shake his. See you next semester, Minato-kun. Kushina bowed slightly, but this time she didn't give the other person a cold shoulder. After all, she was a polite girl. After Minato left, Kushina stopped pretending to be a lady and kicked Ryun directly on the calf, causing him to grimace in pain. Hiss, what a mess. I've already admitted my mistake, and you just beat me up, aren't you still upset? How are you going to plan your vacation? Kushina ignored his resentment and asked with her hands on her hips. What else can I do? Of course I'll continue practicing. Luyun answered subconsciously while rubbing his calf. In a few days, I will teach you the ceiling technique. You should have taught me earlier. Then I won't teach you anymore. Then I won't teach you tree climbing and shadow clones. You dare. Kushina clenched her fists until they crackled. Outside the school gate, the two waved goodbye to each other. For them, there was plenty of time to get together during the holidays, so naturally there was no special feeling. Just as Luyun was walking on the way home, a figure suddenly appeared and blocked his way. Oh my god, idiot.